What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to tradertv.live. Futures in positive territory, only marginally right now. A couple of stories to tell you about the New York Times suing Microsoft and OpenAI for copyright infringement. We'll talk about that. Tesla also getting a competitor from China, the Xiaomi Suzuki sedan set to be rivaling Tesla and Porsche's Taycan. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then Apple also getting a much needed reprieve from the U.S. Court of Appeal, allowing them to sell their Apple Watch into the new year. We'll talk about that and much more. It is Thursday, December 28th, 2023. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there's a look at the NASDAQ, guys. We're above 17.1 at the moment, up about 1/3%. The ES a little flat in 0.04% territory. Bitcoin and Ether kind of switching positions here. Bitcoin down 1.5%, while ETH catching up a little bit here, up 2 1/5. Oil down, yields mixed, guys, as we go in to the second last trading day of the year. What say you?
So just welcome everybody. There was a discussion earlier, maybe it wasn't earlier, it was like a few minutes before we came on air, how to pronounce Xiaomi. And first, Fabian got asked, he answered correctly. Wayne got asked, he answered correctly. But I was like, you could just go to Bing and ask ChatGPT, which gives you not only two or three YouTube videos and the correct phonetic pronunciation there. So I mean, it's like we can bring everything back into AI here, but it's always a lot of fun being able to sort of utilize the topics at hand. But before we get into things here, there was a wild move on some of the crypto names that if you were here early, it was pretty much, I don't want to say it was insane, but Mara dropped $3 in a matter of a couple of minutes, bottoming out at a big $28 level, and then retraced back into 30. Coinbase made a big move as well, dropping 186 underneath 180, bouncing off of 179. So I'm actually marking off 79 as a key level today on Coinbase. So obviously there was some, we're going to talk about it in the watch list a little bit, like there was some, there's a big options expiration going on for a firm tomorrow. I guess you have a little bit of a pullback on the rally as well. Like Bitcoin dropped like a little bit as well. So you had a little bit of a technical push to the downside. But they've been big runners. Apple, as Sharif said, got the big reprieve, and they're looking pretty strong today. Look for some continuation. Been favoring shorts on Apple. Not so much today.
Look, we destroyed Apple yesterday off that long. We crushed Tesla yesterday as well. We're going to look for the same thing today. I mean, let's just see if we can make that happen. It's been, like I said, man, it's been an absolutely monster December, and we'll see if it can continue as a great, huge November. And we're just going to try to play what we've been doing, man. The sticky note's going to be out in a couple minutes. Very, very specific names on it. I just think you trade within your means and just enjoy today. I think it'll be a fun day. The market's up again. We warned you since the time that Santa Claus rally was going to happen. It's here. It's making sense. It's every day it's been up since we started on Friday. So there it goes, man. 4 straight days, or this will be the 4th straight day if it can hold. And then we go into tomorrow, and it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm not ready for curling today, but I used to curl, and I used to teach my kids curling. I was at hockey this morning already. So we are already at hockey watching my daughter play, and then she has 2 games today, which obviously I can't make, but it should be a fun one, and it's a busy one, man. This is a great time of year. I actually think the market should be closed between Christmas and New Year's. For me, it would hurt the pocketbook, of course, but it's nice to have some family time as a lot of businesses are closed. There's no earnings, there's no major numbers, nothing like that. But we do have Kevin O'Leary, my good friend, coming back through today. He'll be on with us at 10:45. So I've tweeted that out. We've always had a great time with him. So we'll talk markets and what we expect in the new year and some fun stuff with Kevin in and around 10:45. And we had a great time yesterday as well. Check out the market recap show. I don't know, might have been the best show, but I think every day is the best show on the Market Recap Show. So we had Raider Trader yesterday. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Shout out to him. He was all dapper and everything yesterday. It was really hilarious seeing him in that suit. But hey, we had a great time, and that's what we're doing, man. It's all about personality, showing who we are, how we trade, and hopefully enjoying the trading day along with us are all of you. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe so you can get notified whenever we release new content and stuff like that. So everything is completely free. Crazy, but free.
All right, guys, Microsoft on watch today as they're being sued by the New York Times. In fact, they're just one of the co-defendants. It's OpenAI and Microsoft being sued by the New York Times, specifically for copyright infringement, alleging that a lot of the large language models that are being trained on the New York Times articles and using their content without paying them and basically having an effect on their balance sheet. Let's look at what Microsoft is doing now. It just got a price target upgrade from Wedbush. You couldn't even tell that it was down on the day from 425 to 450. A good comment there. It's indicating about a 20% upside from where we're currently trading at that 374, 375 area, guys. What's the look on Microsoft?
Well, I mean, this story, it's real in the sense that it's probably going to change some things for how language models are how they learn and the permissions that they may have to get and what payments might need to get made to some of these companies. So it's a first of many, I'm going to assume. But Microsoft doesn't seem to care about this right now. The reaction yesterday when the story came out, was pretty much, I'd say, almost like a nothing burger. The stock just moved along with the market, a bit of a late rally at the end of the day, if anything, and is now gapping up. So that news was dropped late in the afternoon, and the reaction has been relatively positive for them. Now, of course, it isn't necessarily something that will be resolved fast, but this is a name, and let me zoom in because this 15-minute chart, there you go. 375 has been the big level pretty much this entire week. It was the top yesterday. It was the top going back into the beginning of the week, on Friday. And it was kind of the pivot point at the beginning of the week at that 375. We're over it now. So as much as that's a negative catalyst, if Softy is over 375, I think it's room up into the high 370s. And 380, you can worry about that as being resistance if we get to it. I think you want to start with the assumption when you're above resistance that until you break back beneath it, you're looking for the longs, regardless of what the catalyst might be here. So at the end of the day, the story is probably a big story, but it doesn't necessarily have to move the stock in that direction. There are times that you wouldn't want to trade against the news. This, I don't think, is one of those times.
Yeah, Microsoft's going to be the #1 name today on the sticky note, and it's obviously going to be the #1 name on the watch list. And again, I can put these on the sticky note, and it doesn't matter. We can sit here and talk about it, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't make money on the break, then I'm not going with my own strategy. So I'm going to try that 376 again. It just looks like a lot like everything else. You're just bumping up to some of these tops here. It's had a really problem going. This is what makes me nervous. This is why I've been saying that I feel like mid-January, maybe late January. I don't know exactly when, but I just feel like all this is coiling up to do something. So you have two choices here. You're either going to break long above this 385, or you're going to just continue to make the move. Not continue to make the move. I mean, it's bouncing right here, but we were pulling off of these highs. So it's like I'm a little bit nervous about a lot of these big cap tech names here just because they're kind of just floating around right now, which is fine. It's just the NASDAQ's been up about 2% or 1.5% the last 3 or 4 days. This name has kind of been cruising up, from this 370, kind of hovering around 376. So I don't know. I'm pretty nervous about losing this 360. It's not going to happen today because today is a good day. It's going to be another long day, I feel like. I'm pretty bullish, but I just look at this Microsoft chart and say, I don't know. It's not acting like a lot of these other names, so I am a little bit nervous. This and Google are my 2 largest holdings, so I'm not overly nervous about it, but we have to take the break long as a day trader. So we've hit this 376 a bunch of times. Looks like it could get hit again here today. I mean, that real high, if you look back at it, it's right here. It's 370. To get, stop loading. To get a serious break, this would really be it, 378, 377.60, something like that. I think we can easily get $2, and you might get that right off the jump. But we've been bouncing around 376 a couple times, so for me, I'll try that. I have nothing else to do. We have, there's going to be stocks to trade. We talked about Coinbase, and we'll talk about Mara. Like Coinbase is down 1.6% or something. It's like it's a nothing burger also, but there should be some.
It moved $5 in 10 minutes in the pre-market.
Yeah, I know, but that's fine. I mean, it moved $5 yesterday in 1 minute when it broke 180. But the thing is that I still feel like there's going to be some volatility. Crypto is going to be a thing for sure. But Microsoft, I mean, I like that name. There's 377. You know, if you take a 376 break, maybe something there. But yeah, we'll look. Bitcoin now 42.8, y'all.
2023, not really a good year for Chinese ADRs, guys, but they're gapping up today, and apparently there's a record amount of inflows for the week. About $1.8 billion found its way into Chinese equities this past week, taking advantage of the low valuation. You have the likes of Baidu gapping up over 2% right now. A good look for them. PDD as well, up over 1%, gapping to the high side, and Alibaba finally getting a decent day here, 1.5% to the high side. What is the look on any of these Chinese ADRs?
There's a bunch of them that have opportunities today. JD.com doing some cost cut. Well, they had been doing cost cutting, but they're actually giving a bunch of raises to everybody. So it's kind of the opposite, but they're doing that in order to keep talent. On this name, 29.25. Could be in play. It does have to rally like 60, 70 cents to make that breakout. But as you mentioned, Alibaba is already on, it's pretty much at the verge. The 50-period moving average sits there at $78. That was a key level of support and resistance. The stock has been languishing. Obviously, everybody knows that. At this point, you're just looking for something to get going on BABA. It hasn't really had one of those rip your face off days in a while. And you've gapped above resistance. You have that 78 level, which sits for a breakout. The one thing that we've seen this with Chinese ADRs when they gap up is sometimes that dip trade at the open, if you're looking for longs and it doesn't break out the high, you can sit there staring out into the ether forever for something that doesn't happen. Pulling back into previous support sometimes gives you the trade. So if you look at 76.40 down into the close, which was at 76 even, I think that would be a decent target area if it were to dip back in. There's been plenty of consolidation and action at those levels. So if it were to fall, I think you could get some buyers down there. But JD is on the radar. It just needs to, it might be a New Year's thing for them. I'm not sure if that's an 8:30 break. It has to go another 2.5% to make the breakout on JD.
Alibaba's on the sticky notes. You guys can go find that out. Look at MRNA right now. I mean, this name is just continuously, yeah, there it is right there. Thanks, Fabian. MRNA, wow. We talked about this breakdown here at $80, breaking through that 50-period moving average. Thanks to someone in the chat there. Good morning, CompuCare. Who was it there? Emma. What's up, Emma? Yeah, you're right, man. There's the $100 break on MRNA, and it is just really cruising. Like that, once you broke that 80, you got to this 95, and sort of just took that out easily. And then now you're looking to take out this 105, and it just continues to make moves higher. I'm actually somewhat interested in this break right here of 105.50 or so. So we'll have to wait to see. It's still 102 and change, but this name probably gets to 105.50 today. An absolutely fantastic name there with MRNA. And the reason why I wanted to look at that and talk about that break is I've been talking about this Alibaba break for a very long time too. Up here at $80, you know, you got to get through this. It would take out the 50-period moving average, and then you get all this garbage out of here. I put on the sticky note that the risk to me is just China, but I wonder if it's just overblown. I mean, you've had a huge move to the downside. We do have some bottoms there at 60. It's just, again, if the market does fall here in the US, I feel like it's going to fall worse there in China. So I'm a little bit nervous, but yeah, this has been a great name. Ever since I've been talking about being nervous, it's only gone up 10%, right? So there's that bottom at 70, probably a great long, up to $78. You know, you got to be happy if you are a trader of Alibaba, or at least an owner of it in the last week or so. You weren't happy in the last 6 months. And then NEO, again, yesterday was another banging trade that we had on yesterday. And yeah, it fell down in the afternoon. We hit it long early. right into here. Once it fell, look at that little flush down to $9. We had bids right here. We took it all the way to the upside and then it flushed. But look at this. This is this 890 level that we talked about. So any sort of love back into like 9-ish, feel like I got to sit there with another bid. So we'll sit there with another bid, try to get some NEO ahead of $8.90 as EV space is pretty good, man. We called Tesla up to 280. That was a pretty bold call. We're not too many percentage points away now from that as we hit to 265. I still think 280 could be there tomorrow. Kind of a random number, but we still get up to that top again. And like I was saying, just thought Tesla had a chance to go. Remember we were showing you Microsoft's kind of just hovering near the top? Well, Tesla's made a nice move here in the last, that always happens whenever I talk about Tesla. In the last month or so, 2 months, let's call it, that bottom of 194, back up to 264. So that's $70 right there on 200, right? So it's a nice move, 30% or so on Tesla. I mean, it's not as great as some of those other big names, or some of those other lesser names, but Tesla, good one for a big cap. And yeah, we're getting ready to go, man. Maybe I'll do a spin here as soon as I see some people winning here.
Yeah, I never win on those, Sean. I don't know why. Plug Power in focus today, guys, trading higher by about 0.2% in the pre-market after it completed its first electrolyzer installation at an Amazon fulfillment center in Colorado. The 1 megawatt proton exchange membrane, that's a whole lot of words there, will produce low carbon hydrogen to fuel about 225 fuel cell powered forklift trucks, and it can support probably about 400 such trucks, gapping up nicely today, but it's been a tough year for Plug Power.
2.21 gigawatts is the only amount of power that you need. Plug Power, what's weird about Plug is the volume. I know it's on the watch list. It's got about a couple 100,000 in volume on it, and it does set up pretty decently if it can break $5 today. It's just, at least the chart does, because it has this gap into like $5.60 and then maybe even back into $6 in here. So the daily chart is a stock which is higher lows since it had the flush into resistance. Its last peak was at $5. So if it can break out at $5, I mean, I'd trade it if it broke $5. I'm just not seeing any sign that it's going to happen. So this is one you set an alert for, or set a stop if it gets up there and makes a breakout. There are names that are imminent, more imminently breaking key levels than Plug Power, but the $5 is what I'll be looking at today. I suppose if it were to drop really big, you guys can see down here at like 415. Had a bit of a triple bottom down at that price. So if it were to kind of go the other direction for whatever reason, that's an other obvious level. But the $5 for me on Plug Power, I'm just going to wait around for that. If you see it today, great. If it happens next week, like I said, set an alert for it, because it is gearing up for a bit of a move. And it's got 10% to the next level on Plug. No one's going to scoff at 10%, at least I hope you wouldn't. All
right. We talked about rolling the dice there. We just got rocket, 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 quick little 2K points there. Wow. Hopefully that shows us what's going to come today in the market. Hopefully we don't win on slots and lose in the market, because one is real, one is fake. Okay, Palantir. I didn't look at Plug Power. All right, Palantir here. Yesterday, again, we were 2 for 2 with this name, and you got to stick with what's been working, right? Yesterday we shorted both times in this area 770. So we had the short right there when we broke, we hit that, and then we had the short. We literally had this top right into here just because we were using some of this pre-market bottom-ish type of areas, or the close from Wednesday, Tuesday, as an area there of 1770. So I still want to look here for Palantir. The thing is, I do think it's going to be a little bit of a bullish day today, so I want to let it settle down. But again, a name that we went 2 for 2 yesterday, and that we're very, very comfortable and familiar to trade. We will be back on PLTR today. It's just a matter of getting up to this level. So that's 1764 or so area there, if we can get back up. And I think we will get there. It's just I don't want to stand in the way of this machine, because once it gets going, especially if there's certain people that are going to be coming in and buying certain names. You don't want to stand in that way, right? And that's part of the reason why we've seen Tesla. She's been buying and selling some of that as well. I just think Palantir looks like it's doing the same kind of things. Get that garbage out of here. So the minute that you're above, you'd like to see you break above this 1850 mark. I think that's important. I was going to say the 50 period is $18. But again, once you get all this out of here, we've seen many names just continue to move higher off of some consolidation, right? So it took months to consolidate down here between 15 and 17. And then finally, right, like these are earnings news, but finally start to get going right back up to the top of 20 again. So the next time we break through 18 and hold, we are going to retest 21 and 22. So I do like Palantir here. Again, I feel like I want to play the short because that's what we did yesterday. Let's just be patient with this name. It's PLTR.
All right, guys, day 2 for CING. Singulate stock skyrockets again as its ADHD treatment garners traction and its delisting from the NASDAQ gets delayed. It ran up aggressively yesterday. It's running up aggressively today, 171% to the good. Very short float, very small float, I should say, 685,000 shares, guys. Is there any trade on this one?
The number right there. When you're sub $1 million on the float, it just means you have squeeze potential, right? Like it's not the same kind of short squeeze, but it's the lack of liquidity that causes it to go up the way that it does. It's already pulling back, but I'm going to point you to this number here, and that's 950, where it bounced just about a half an hour ago. What is that significance of it? Since the reverse split, that was the peak. So it's bouncing off of that kind of random, ridiculous peak at 950. If it does hold on to that price, I think it's got a secondary run. This thing, if there's sellers under 950, it's probably a retracement play. I didn't pay for locates or check on the price. I was actually about to do that just to see how expensive it might be. Also grab some Nikola shortable shares. But if it's underneath 950, I don't think I'd want to be fighting this. These reverse split runners tend to come back, and when they do, they come back with an absolute vengeance to the downside. So day 2 play, it is breaking out above the split price, which generally speaking is good for a run, but you might have already seen that. Sometimes the early bird gets the worm on these, and earlier traders have already benefited for a move up to like 15, 16 bucks. So you don't necessarily want to get caught in something like that, but as long as the 950 holds, I think it's got a chance.
The crazy name that I'll probably be looking at here has rebounded, but it's Mara. A nice move down, as we talked about, or Neil mentioned and Sharif mentioned earlier, this nice move down in some of these names. Just looks like some profit taking, I guess. Mara's been super, super hot fire, man. So we'll wait to see. Obviously, it can still get going. It's already done 6 million shares, so we're not too worried about that. If you're going to look at a longer time frame here for Mara, the 50 period is 28. We bounced off there, and then we have a lot of action here in and around 26. So, you know, in a sort of, I don't know, catastrophic situation maybe where Mara drops $3 down to 26 today, that could be an area. But I think more conservatively, you know, this 29 looks pretty good. You know, so I feel like we are getting close to some of these levels, as of course you're going to see some dark pools come in now. So all these prints aren't happening up here at 3150. They're not even, I don't even know if they're hitting on the time in sales. There must be, I don't even see them hitting on the time in sales. So our chart is just sort of charting these sort of dark prints here that I've filtered out. But you're going to see there's that 28. We kind of made that move and stopped. There again, there's the big dark pool at 8 o'clock, so it didn't happen again. So really 29 has sort of been the stop zone here for Mara. With Bitcoin being relatively, where's my chart right here, relatively under control right now, I could see, you know, this making some sense here. There's the move down again, a little bit more dramatic than a lot of these markets seem to make it look like. But here we go. This goes from yesterday at 8 o'clock. We're up to 44,000. So now you're coming back down to 42,750. That's, again, like, look at this level, right? Not horrible, where we could see some bounce action on this. But if we zoom back out, you know, you really don't have too much support at all the way back in. This is just a few days. I mean, if we go into, let's just go into a 30-minute chart. Let's just try to see, because maybe there is going to be that flush, right? I mean, the top of 44, and now you're going back. This is all of December, right? So the top of 44 has really been respected. But this is what I mean by you don't really have too much support here. I mean, this 42, you can kind of wick down to 41,500 right here, 600, I guess, if that happens. And then ultimately, you're going to look for a hold of 41,000. So I could see, you know, Bitcoin losing 1,200, 1,500 bucks here to get down to 41 isn't isn't unheard of, but I feel like in some of these ETFs, or not ETFs, I guess the miners, or in Coinbase, you could see that the sky could fall, right? Because people are going to get nervous. Here's that 180 mark again coming into play. This is the one that we missed yesterday that we had on watch. There's the huge break up, right? Boom. You know, up about $11 there from open. So, and then there's that top heavy move of 187. So again, like a lot of supply up here near 185. I got out of all my Coinbase like around 175, 172, something like that, and it was looking pretty bad. But I feel pretty good about it right now. Let's continue to watch out for this. I do have Bitcoin time in sales on my other screen right now. So if I see that really start to tank, maybe we'll get involved in something like a GBTC or something like that on the grayscale side of things. Yesterday I was not very impressed as we had hit the long into the close there and it didn't really do anything. And then here's the move down here that happened. I guess that was aftermarket. So we don't have any prints yet on GBTC, but oh yes, the one, Roblox. I should be adding this. So this was a name that I gave yesterday on the market recap show for, stupid. All right, I'll just use this chart for a nice break long. You know, Raider Trader and myself, we went back and forth on it because he's such a kid. I was telling him about how I liked Roblox and you know, he liked the name and everything. Unfortunately, the chart's not gonna participate here, but this 47 break I think is another one that we have to take. So I said yesterday all I want for Christmas is a Roblox upgrade. So let's see if we can get through 47 without anything significant. If we had something on Roblox today, I guarantee you this name would have been screaming. It's down though today, down 0.5%. So this name is a little worried, but I do like Roblox breaking through 47, just not as excited about it as Microsoft.
All right, guys, Adara's at the big board. She's got upgrades and downgrades.
Wisdom Tree here getting an upgrade from North Coast. Lightspeed we also have here trading a little bit higher after getting an upgrade from BTIG Research. Chubb getting an upgrade from HSBC Securities. And Freshworks getting an upgrade from Needham. For downgrades, Match Group over here getting a downgrade from KeyCorp. And these next three all holds for some insurance-related names from HSBC Securities. Allstate with a hold here with a price target of 145, Progressive getting initiated, price target of 164, and last but not least, Travelers over here also getting initiated by HSBC Securities, guys.
Usually on the upgrades and downgrades, I'm telling you, we can find like one or two. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting, I know a level here on that stock, or I like the stock, or own it, or have a look. I gotta admit, don't have anything on that one. And yes, it was pointed out in the chat, I did let the 187 reference go. I usually let that one go. We'll make some other references. I'm not gonna, if a stock gets to 42, or if I have a chance at like 34.50, I'll haul those numbers out. But there is a name that I can maybe pivot to here, Affirm. If we're talking about things that are at monster highs or lows, Affirm broke that the key 52 level just barely yesterday and then had a pullback day. Now, I'm cheating to make this look like a nice smiley face. It is a smiley face on the chart. But when you pull back, you realize, oh yeah, that's right. This move from 10 to 50 isn't quite so impressive if you actually bother to include the peak at 2021. That said, it's at the monster level. I think when you get to a level like this, usually you're expecting a little bit of a dip. There was a huge dip the first time. Even if there's a moderate dip off 52 after failing a double top today, I think you could see you could see the 49s here on Affirm. So I am looking for shorts again underneath the 52. We're short that at the tops yesterday. I think you'll look for the same thing here on Affirm. You know, there aren't going to be a lot of upgrades and downgrades and catalysts. We were actually just talking about that with regards to Roblox. Like, the key thing about when you're looking for a breakout trade is for a squeeze, people need to be covering shorts for it to go. When you have a resistance level, in order for it to make the big run, you've got to get through all of the supply that's at that price level, and sometimes you need something to happen for it. So yes, maybe Roblox breaks that, maybe Affirm breaks this 52.50, but without a catalyst, I think you look for that supply zone, at least on Affirm, a little more bearish there. You look for it to be a short opportunity. And if you get an inside day in the market, that's probably your only trade on the key level, is to try to make that little bit of a fade. So we'll go back to the well on Affirm. Today, no upgrade or downgrade there. Probably hasn't been on one in a while. Although I can see some I can see some downgrades on this stock in the new year, just given the rally. It's up like 5x, man. Usually that's when you start seeing some people adjust some targets.
Oh yeah, I've already, for a firm, I already mentioned it. I think it has a 3 handle on it in January, so I feel like this is a good opportunity to get some puts on that one. You know, another high-flying name that's sort of coming back in as well is Carvana. Carvana up to $60 there, sort of wicked some highs, 62.50. I mean, what a great name this was, breaking through that $40 level there. This is another one, just because we're talking about some names that could fall back in. You're falling into 50 again, and I feel like this is worth buying. So again, if you do get, I'm with the short on a firm. I pretty much try to short it all the time. Sometimes get run over. That can be a dangerous stock for sure, and so can this one. So you got to watch out for Carvana. It's not halting or anything now because, again, you know, a 10% move on a $60 name, it's probably not going to be happening. Well, it could. Who knows? But I like this $50 area here for a possible buy in CVNA. So I'm still impressed with this Moderna. I mean, I can't believe I didn't pull the trigger down there. But Moderna up to, oh, it's coming back in a little bit here. Moderna, I want to watch. This name is, my daily chart didn't change. There it is. So here comes Moderna. Again, this is going to be another level. We talked about this. We talked about 105.50, 106. You know, so that's going to be possibly a short. As now it's down to 101. That's why I'm like kind of like, eh. But this could be another short area here for Moderna. 106 or so off of a monster run in the last couple of days, up about 20%. So Moderna right there, 106 for a possible fade. That's that was a trade that I was looking at for one of these high flying names.
All right, guys, let's have a look at the futures and see what to expect here on the ES 48.34. That's where we closed out yesterday. We're a few points below that right now at 48.30. The overnight low, 48.29. The overnight high, 48.41. I'm going to say look for resistance at 48.50 and look for support at that 48.20 area. That is kind of the lower end of the range that we got into yesterday, but incrementally making our way up here on the ES after that big down day last week, guys. Good look on the futures. We'll wait to see what happens there. All right, let's get to the watch list and talk about everything you need to know. First on the list, Microsoft. Mentioned this one at the top of the show. They are being sued, in addition to OpenAI, by the New York Times, alleging that they are using their intellectual property without paying them. So OpenAI responded, said that they are committed to working with all authors and news outlets to advance this technology. There is a parallel suit right now that was already filed by certain writers. They hired Saussman Godfrey law firm, which is the law firm that represented Dominion voting systems in their huge win over Fox News for over $750 million. OpenAI has responded saying that they have attempted to settle in the past and they're going to continue to work so. But Microsoft gapping up still on that Wedbush upgrade, guys.
If you're not being sued, then you're not doing it right as a Mag 7 company. So as you mentioned just there at the end, and you know, you're very likely to get some kind of a settlement because, I mean, OpenAI has already tried to make some kind of settlement. So I think they're acknowledging that at some point, you know, the framework for the use of others' content that is created and curated and all that other stuff is going to be important. That said, you know, Microsoft, it's had this 375 challenge over and over again the last 2 days. We like these close prices when they show you key price levels, and you've had a 375 close both on Friday and then on Monday you closed there. You opened and failed it at 75. If it can break out off this level, it's just got some room to run. It has not really been participating. It's just holding this lower high. If you're gonna get the market rallying today, you know, Apple showing some signs of strength after yesterday on the news. I think Microsoft participating would definitely help it. You are not rolling over, you are breaking down slightly here, and I would watch for some of the imbalances. We've had a couple of days in the last week, I guess on lighter volumes, where you've seen these spikes right at about 9:25, right before the market opens on some imbalance plays. And usually, if it's a big one, there's been these great retracements. So in the back of my mind, like we saw it on Apple a couple of days ago, in the back of my mind, if I see that happening on a couple, I want to have a few ideas out there. One of those would be like back into like 374 even or 373 even on Microsoft, only because those levels are so defined. Like a double bottom on the even, and then you can see on the 15-minute, the 374 has got significance as well. So if there was an imbalance play, I'd be open to a scalp trade if it tries to bounce off either of those even dollar levels. But I'm kind of ignoring the news and just looking at the charts today on Microsoft. Sure, a lawsuit bad, but it doesn't mean the stock can't go up.
Yeah, stock is basically flat with the market right now. The market is pulling back in, obviously, here a little bit. I mean, it's going to look more dramatic than it is. I mean, it's only 15 handles to the downside, but Microsoft is saying, hold my beer. Shout out to Hold My Beer in the chat. Yeah, so I was just saying, like, I still really love this name long. I mean, if you're able to get this at 373, then that's that would be real good. So like it down there. Love the, I mean, I've already sort of talked about this. You can go find it here. If you're looking for a little bit of explanation, it's a sticky note. It's out right now. And it's the #1 idea. It's a 376 long break. We talked about why we liked it right here. We talked about it. I just saw coin yesterday at 180 and sort of put like an LOL there. This is a $370 name. So you could get a decent break to the upside, but then lack of a catalyst, right? I mean, it's a Thursday. This probably will be the lightest volume day, maybe of the week. So I'm not super excited about the break, but if it's there, and I want to take it, because yesterday I was hesitant for similar reasons on Coinbase, where I thought, does it really want to take 180? And then it went to 187. And I was watching, crypto was fine, but it wasn't necessarily flying. So again, we get an upgrade today. So I like the space. I'm willing to dip by Apple, which I have some bids on right now, and Alibaba. Maybe I should put one here. It's just, if we lose this 373 area, then there's a problem. And, the market would probably be down probably 1% maybe at that point, or I don't know, close enough to that. So I'm going to watch out for this. I'm going to put a bid now that I look at this. I don't think we're going to get it. I never even thought we would, but maybe we will. 373.50 on Microsoft is where I'm going to bid. So I'll deal with the problem if and when we get down there. But for right now, that's where I'm bidding. And we are going to talk about Apple soon, so I'll leave that for then. But Microsoft, like it. At least there's a catalyst of some sort. But Wedbush, like, I don't know, man.
Model S Plaid, Porsche Taycan, watch out. Here comes the Xiaomi Suki, SU7, pronounced Suki in Mandarin. Here it is. This is supposed to have range of around 628 kilometers to about 800 kilometers, about 390 miles or so. For the base range, it's supposed to rival the Model S, Plaid, and the Taycan in terms of acceleration and some other features. And then, yes, as typical now with most new EVs, it is filled with screens, both front and back. It's supposed to begin deliveries and production in 2024. There's no price as of yet, but market participants saying that this is going to be around the same price as the Model S Plaid, give or take a few thousand, guys. What's the look here for Tesla?
You know, I actually like, we saw like the new NIO vehicle, NIO's new vehicle yesterday. I think we were showing it off.
Yeah, it was
I like
nice.
that. I kind of like, I'm still putting that one ahead. So look, we already know that Tesla faces some pretty stiff competition in China. This isn't necessarily anything new. So there's margin concerns. You still have some talking heads. I saw another one come out saying, what does Tesla have that Toyota doesn't have? And I'm like, I don't know, full self-driving, Elon Musk. We could go on about that, but it's like, it's the same thing. So forget about valuation. It finally broke out of the channel, at least attempted to make a decent breakaway from this channel that we've been sort of drawn for a while. And it's, now you're above the 260 level. When you break a resistance like this, I look for that to become support. So longs over it is the general sense until you get to the 270, and then there's the 280 level up there. So each of those peaks has been pretty significant. You're $5 away if you break out the top today from that. I already have the previous close marked off because on dip buys in Tesla, I like that level, but don't ignore the supply at 263 that was there. So if there's a dip in Tesla, I just want to grip and rip. So it's 263, 261 half, or 260. Those are the three prices that makes sense to me for a dip. And then as always, if we're talking about Tesla, I'm always going to go to Rivian. Like Rivian and Apple for short to the open. I guess we'll talk about Apple in a second. Rivian faded despite Tesla's strength, and it faded off the $24 level. So it's got a bigger level at 2460. I think that's where the big breakout could be on Rivian next year through 2460, or maybe, I don't know, today or tomorrow. But the 24 level has been a good resistance zone. I think until it breaks it, that's a shortable level for me, just like yesterday.
Yeah, no FOMO on anything for EV for me. I mean, I'm stuck in some Fisker. This stock really sucks. Obviously down to 150. I don't even know what's happening with this one. GM and Ford. I mean, Ford continues to make some moves.
You want coffee?
So no, I gotta go for a walk in a second, anyways. Thanks. We're switching up some coffees right now. All right. Oh man, we have that big. Like, what is going on with these charts? Man, are the charts on holidays? Did Ford just IPO or something? Ford just IPO'd at 12:30 there, so I'm not sure. Okay, forget it. All right, I'll probably, if I just refresh the charts, it'll probably be fine. But no, you know what? Look, yesterday, Tesla, boom. We hit the 260. The 260 yesterday was the #1 trade here on the show, period, P&L-wise. And it bounced off 260 again. So look, yesterday, the 260 was the catalyst for me, just breaking through that level. I feel like we might have had an upgrade yesterday or something. Oh no, there was the redesigned Model Y, the updates on the Model Y. That's what sparked it yesterday. Today, I don't really see similar news, but this bottom, like Neil just mentioned, 263, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna say no to it though. Tesla's up 1%. If it comes into this area, I think we can probably fall into where VWAP probably needs to be around 262. So I think we could start buying this name around 262, but it's up 1% and the market's going the other way. So this is also another break candidate long. I just don't want to be stuck long with a catalyst that I can't find. So I'm going to wait on it. So for me, Tesla today, although it goes yesterday, look, yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to see this, but yesterday it was #1. Yeah, it's hard to see. You won't be able to see it. It was #1 on the sticky note. Today, I don't even have it on, and it's not even really on my radar until we get back down into 260. There it is. Into 263. What's up? See? There we go. Into 263. That's going to be a good level, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for that. Now closer down to 260. I think I like that name. Remember, if the market falls like it's doing right now, Tesla has a ways to go. Like, it's up 1%. So if weakness comes into this name and the market falls, you will see that 260. So we're going to wait to see if that comes through for Tesla. I still like it. I made the call down there at 220 that we could see 280 by year end. We're percentage points away from that now. Let's see if we can get there on Tesla. I still like the name, but I like NIO better at $9.
We broke this news story to you yesterday on the midday show. Apple winning its appeal at the U.S. Court of Appeal for the Federal Circuit yesterday. It will be able to sell its Apple Watch 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2 at least until January 10th, when the ITC, the International Trade Commission, will have to make its decision. Apple coming in saying overnight that it is reportedly redesigning components of the watch to allow for it to continue to sell without any further intervention by them. It should be noted that the section of wearables that Apple sells last year, or this year actually, amounted to about $39.8 billion in sales. That doesn't just include the Apple Watches, it's home devices as well as AirPods, etc. But a large revenue generator for them, guys. Apple gapping up.
You know, the funny thing about Apple moving here was, I just called this up because I wanted to look at the volume yesterday when this actually happened. It's too bad that our trades don't show our ticks from yesterday still. I was caught short here underneath VWAP because I wanted to play Apple short. I said that in the beginning of the show that I wanted to be short until we got the news. And again, the word catalyst seems to be like something that I'm overusing today, but that's really what we need to look for right now, is what are the catalysts in some names. Apple controls a lot. I mean, it's 51% of what this, like, it actually is even a higher percentage in the S&P than we even think because of how much of it's in Berkshire. So the thing is that if this market's going to continue its little rally up, it does kind of need to be helped with Apple. It's just we are bumping our head against that 200 again at some point where that's going to happen. And it's kind of like there right now, 194, right? 195. But the thing is that I was caught short under VWAP. This is why we use VWAP. And then we got out and then we just punched long, man. And we had quite a nice move all the way back up. And we took big time advantage of that and hit this long yesterday on that Apple ban pause. So I like the story. The fact that it's coming in now makes it even better. I'm bidding 193 flat, well, 193.11s, whatever. Hopefully that comes in there today, and we just hit 193.40. So I like the long here on Apple. I think the catalyst is there. They can now resume selling these watches. Do I think that it's going to be the ultimate resolution? No. I mean, they're going to have to come up with something. And when they do, it's just going to be a win for Apple. It doesn't even matter what the resolution is. As long as they can keep selling the watch, it doesn't how much money they pay. They're sitting on part of the problem.
As long as they don't buy them.
Yeah, part of the problem is that they're sitting on so much cash that it's like they could just pay them out. They could buy them. They can give they could give a royalty to these guys. Like whatever, man. Apple's gonna still continue to win. Their wearables are huge. Their iPads are huge. Their earphone things are huge. AirPods. The thing's going to be great. Wait until people get their hands on. It's too expensive, but that's not going to matter to a lot of people. Wait till they get their hands on the Vision Pro. I like Apple here, and if Warren likes it, I like it. So
there you go.
That's our guy.
I will say I don't want them to buy them. That's the only thing I'll throw. I'm talking about Massimo there. We showed Massimo and how much that stock absolutely flushed on that news when it did come out. Now, I said this yesterday. I thought two stocks were shorts. Apple was one of them. And I think the short levels just become the long levels today. So that was off the open right at that 193. It was a short into here. I played the reversal. The news came out there. That's the first opportunity after the flash move was right underneath 191.75. So I went into the long here at 60s and then re-entered it above VWAP. I think if you even sniff those levels, that's a buy zone. But that being said, just underneath 193, the morning level short was afternoon support. I think you dip by Apple. It's reversing that trend. When I look at the 15-minute, it was in a downward trend off the 200. There is a support level broken yesterday for the short, regained, and then comes back in. So you have a liquidity grab underneath support, and then if you can hold on to support, I think you can rally to the upside. It even sets it up for a potential 194 break here today. And there's a lot of room for this to get back up on Apple. As far as Massimo goes, it's not a stock that we've traded before, but if you keep your ear to the ground here, let's say there's a resolution that is seen as very good for Apple. Well, just remember how bad this drops to the downside when that news hit. Like it dropped $8, like $8 on $120 stock. So if we do hear flash news on Apple, probably won't be today, but sometime early next year, I think in the back of your mind, if you can get an early move on Massimo, it looks like it can pay off for you.
All right, next on the list here, guys, crypto. A big day for Mara yesterday. What a rocket ship that was off that 27.5, touching 32 at the highs. Giving back a little bit right now, 7 1/3 to the downside for Mara. Coinbase not faring much better either, about 3 2/3 to the downside for Coin, rejecting that 187 level. That's all on the back of Bitcoin, giving about 2% here, 1.9% to the downside, Neil. But I got to mention that ETH running in the opposite way today. ETH above that 2380 area, looking to take 24. It's up 1.15%. Any look on these crypto-related names?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about there being a huge move. And for those of you in the Breakfast Club, shout out to everybody if you're in here early. I'm just going to quickly show, because at the time when this move was happening on Mara, tweeted this out as it was going to the downside, big dip on Mara, some support at 28 and just underneath the 29 area as it was sort of falling. Like it was just breaking down the 29 area as it was starting to go. And you can see like a couple of minutes later, it bounces clean off 28.01 and then rounds out into here, 29.75. So the last kind of consolidation off $30 on Mara was able to bounce into 31 off that level. So I usually look at big support levels, which was the midday support level, to turn into resistance. I think Mara can be a fade up in that range. Probably was one early. And your 28 is a big line in the sand. If it can't hold on to 28, I think it is reasonable that you could pull back even further. Next level, I think as Sean mentioned, like 26. I have 25.5. I had it marked off. I don't know why I didn't save. But 25.5 was also support. So you could see 10% moves on this stock, like has been the normal, to be honest with you. Like the norm has been 10% on Mara has been an easy thing. So if it goes down 10%, I don't know why anybody would be shocked. So you got the key levels, 28, 29.75 into 30. And just one more for you, because it's been a little bit crypto adjacent, Square. That $80 break might have to wait. There's another one, it was this in Roblox. A couple of things that were at pretty key levels looking to break out some tops. But with this pullback, that might just have to be put on the back burner for a little bit. But it is still near the front of the mind here. Square at a huge level on the daily chart, just can't seem to break through. What are you going to do? That's what happens. Like when a stock gets to the price, you just got to be ready for it to go. You don't know the day or the moment it's going to break a key level. It could happen at the open. It could happen at 11 o'clock. It could happen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's as a day trader, you just hope it doesn't happen overnight. That's all.
Yeah, that's the best thing about crypto is you can just get in and out if you're trading the actual coins. But all right, so look, it's been 2 days in a row that we had, basically $7 to $9 moves that we had those exact prices. At least this move we took. This was 2 days ago where we went short right here at 178. I was able to get out at 175. Shout out to Zoltan who held it all the way down to 171. But again, that's $7, and then down here to 169 is $9 if you held the bottom. And then yesterday, as it was written, we had 180 on this sticky note, but didn't take it. I talked about it live, and we should have taken it. And then all of a sudden, it ripped to 186.50 within a couple of 10, 30 minutes, right? So, again, this name is going to give you a lot of opportunities. It's Coinbase, right? So it's only down 3.5%. Obviously, it's not down huge, but you are getting into this 176 area where we could hold. I'm a little bit nervous about Bitcoin. It is starting to turn on its head a little bit here. And I said this yesterday. I said you may want to, the ratio of Bitcoin to Ethereum had gotten overextended to the bullish Bitcoin side. So if you play the two of them, you could have rotated into one and out of the other. Now, I don't know what Ethereum's doing today, but you could see Bitcoin right now down 1% and looking like it wants to get going. And I said this before as we zoom this out, there's really no support until like 41 and change. So, that's another $1,000. I said 1,800 down from here gets you that 41 or so. So that's kind of where I'm thinking we could get to. And if that happens, then you could say sayonara, see you later to Coinbase. Because again, this name is just being bought up on a lot of hype and stuff like that. We've talked about some of the reasons why people are buying up Coinbase, and it does make sense. But again, on an outsized move, things have to come back in. I mean, it's just the law of reality maybe, and stocks, like they get over pushed, right? Coinbase's short float is huge. And then when you get names like ARK coming in and kind of buying it nonstop, that's why when you're looking at ARK and you're saying, oh my God, they're up so huge. This is the number one holding, Coinbase. It's a 14% short float. So, that makes a lot of sense. I'm waiting for that day. Maybe it already happened. Maybe I missed it. But she's eventually going to be selling this position, and I believe she probably already has. So I look out for a Coinbase little whoosh down when we get that news that ARK is loosening the cables on this.
Guys, Chinese ADRs as a group, all higher. Every single one on my watch list except for DI. Every one of them is higher. Let's have a look at how BABA is doing here. Up nicely on the day, 1.5%. This is all coming from a report saying about $1.9 billion or 13.5 billion yuan found its way into Chinese equities last week amid favorable policy expectations and the market's low valuations of these ADRs. PDD doing quite well as well, 1.14% to the upside, but Baidu taking the cake here, 2% and change. Any look on these ones, guys?
Taking the cake, why not? Or, I don't know, taking the fritter, taking the apple pie. I just find a lot of things are better than cake, but that's just me. It's an interesting saying, but most people I know, they prefer like a lot of other pastries as opposed to cake, although I like that cake show. Is it cake? My daughter's into that one as well. BABA I think the two names I like the most today, I kind of put NEO usually in the EV space a little bit, but BABA and JD, and BABA's more likely to trade at some levels, I think, than JD is going to today. So if you get a dip, we already went over this, but if you get a dip into previous resistance, that's where I'd look for the gap fill on BABA. If there's buyers above 78, then I want to be a joiner into that 80 level here on the daily chart. This is something which is playing catch up to, I guess, the market and a lot of other things. We talk about it being a value because the valuations are absolutely ridiculous. Like if you go to all the metrics, oh my goodness, price to cash, PE, all that stuff, like these stocks you'd think would be a heck of a lot higher. JD falls exactly into that category. It just needs to take out 29.30 up here. It's, as I mentioned, about 75 cents away from that price. So that's a good 2.5%. It's already up 2.5 or 3% right now, so it would need to double that to make a breakout. But it's another big level looking for a break on the daily. And once there's buyers above that price, I think it's got a lot of room to be able to run. Again, some of the best opportunities for longs in terms of percent gain are going to be on beat up stocks. So when they start to go, they're the ones that you want to be involved in. And for NEO, it's still, to me, 950. We had the long the other day when it made the push into 950, and it just needs to take out that level. Closing above the 200 period would be pretty darn nice for NIO. It's had one close above the 200 period since about September.
All right, it's 9:25. I mean, yeah, so, you know, again, NEO should probably be on the sticky note. I have NEO and Roblox that I like that aren't on the sticky note that I like. We hit NEO yesterday, and again, it was the second or third best stock, and it was because we were able to, imagine that it was such a top stock, and I was out of it in a couple minutes, and it had this huge whoosh down right off the open, and we were able to get some love in this candle because it was real. We don't have the very bottom of 9. We had like 911s, I believe it was, and when it went back up to 30s, I was really disappointed with NEO because I thought we had a chance to get going through 950 yesterday, and that was actually the break long that I liked. But then when this whoosh happened, we stopped trading it. So we went long, we didn't try it again, but we should have, because again, I remember calling it up and going back over that we had some levels here. Unfortunately, I have to zoom back out there a little bit, but right into here, this 990 level that broke right there and kept going up also held yesterday. So if NEO does dump in, I like. All right, so the other name here is going to be Alibaba. Another name that I like. I'm bidding this right now. This is on the sticky note. I'm bidding it at 76.50. So just yesterday, kind of this where we topped out. It's a nice move upside. It's up 1.5%. If the market flushes, I like it. It's Alibaba. Go long on this name. As again, catalysts, you know, didn't even update my charts. Catalysts really just trying to break through 80 bucks. So I don't really see a specific catalyst for this name, but it's been working out really well. The Chinese economy, we just talked about it. Some of these ADRs are flying around a little bit today. So in trying to get relative weakness, like you're trying to get overperformance, maybe the Chinese names have a little bit of catch up to make, you know, whether or not you want to put it on your hot dog or not, I like mustard, but they could catch up to the rest of this market and eventually take out this 50-period moving average, which I think a lot of people are waiting for there on Alibaba, and that's at 78. So I don't want to push the long on that. Before we go back over to Sharif, we're actually done. I just wanted to see this because there's bets again. It's probably going to test 1 cent. I mean, you know, that would be what? I don't even know the percentage. Is that 20% down?
Yeah, 20% down.
Yeah, so I feel like that's possible. We're down 11 right now, down to 1 could be there. It's just on here. I know you're going to say it's always up here on the top. So that's not going to be, it's already done 175 million. So the fact that it has 1.8, it should actually, as a percentage, it should be like all the way down here. But there's really nothing on here. I just want to talk about that as, you know, we're not getting too much action on the imbalances. So I'm going to close that. Just check out on some of the stocks we know we want to buy. So we want to buy Microsoft on dips. That's kind of not doing anything as the market's trying to retrace. We've got Alibaba, Apple. I'm just looking at some of these names. Roblox. So there goes, there goes Apple. We are bidding Apple down there at 193 flat. It's making a nice move. It bounced off 40s right there. Then the other name that I think is going to break, well, it got turned down right now. That is Roblox. I'm going to wait for Roblox to do something. It's down 0.6. Yeah, I'm not even bidding 46. Normally that would be a level that I would bid on Roblox because I liked it yesterday and we stayed away. But the reason why is that like, why is it down so much here today? So let's just see if Roblox deserves a bid down here near 46.20. I could try it, put it there. If it breaks 46, we could get out. So something like that maybe.
Oh, just on alert now. I don't know if
Roblox.
I didn't see it on the imbalance locator as you pulled it up there, so I'm going to assume ARM is just doing this because it's ARM. But it just hit $75, broke 75, new all-time high for ARM. I know it's an IPO, recent IPO, but still an all-time high, so we want to acknowledge that. Look, if this holds 75, it's a blue sky setup. Like there's nothing above here that's going to stand out. Even on a dip, maybe if it dips back in and holds 74.50, I like, generally speaking, the long on ARM. It just didn't set up yesterday. I was expecting a big dip down off the 73.5 the second time through, and it just didn't do it. It actually held 73.5 on a dime. So I was looking for a big dip and rip in ARM. If it does the same thing today, maybe this 74 area or the 75.5. But that has been a good one. It's going to continue to be a winner, I think. But for today on the day trade, if it just starts screaming about 75, I guess we just look for longs into 80. When that's going, it's going to make a good move. Oh, one last one. SoFi, if it comes back down into $10. Probably would like a retest of that level. Why not? Even dollar level, it ran away from it. I'm kind of missing some data, but it was a consolidation off 10. Long got to 10.50. So a 10 o'clock dip and even a 10.50 break in play. As we get to Adara, it is the second last trading day of 2023. And let's get it started in 4, 3, 2, 1. And you know what to do.
I like that. I like that little at
cool.
The end there. That was pretty cool for sure.
That'll work.
All right. Well, I was watching Apple, hoping for a dip. Ha! That's fun. That's a fun story. There goes Apple, just absolutely ripping to the upside, man. I mean, no love on that one. I just put a bid at 193.60 before the market opened, as we were all talking about it, and there it goes right up to the upside. Roblox not doing too much. Microsoft hovering around as well, and not doing the Apple move. That is for sure. But here we go. I am going to take. This is going to be. See what I mean about the liquidity? Like it bounces around 60s, 70s, and here it goes. Looks like we will have an opportunity. Ooh, there goes Microsoft pulling back in a little bit. Yeah, I like the 376 break on this name, but it just bounced again in and around that 375.50. Maybe we'll start with a small little bid down there and see if we can get some shares before we break. But yeah, nice move up for the market. Looks like it's trying to fade out a little bit right now, though.
Oh, I just made I went to punch ARM and punch
Alibaba
Tesla
maybe.
instead.
But what just happened?
So I just punched in and out of
Microsoft.
Tesla when I meant to go get ARM. So I had to put my window over to Tesla to go deal with it. I was switching at the last second when I saw that move in ARM into 75. It was on the wrong level too. So ARM did dip down into 74.50. So I want to get my bid out here and then give it to this pre-market low at 74.40. Oh, that's gonna suck if that ends up being the bottom.
Oh my God,
That would
dude.
be frustrating.
Oh my fucking God. Yes, let's go, man. It's happening again for us. Let's go, man. We're long Microsoft. It's only 40 cents, but we are starting to take a couple pieces out here. If I get one more out, we'll be out of half, and then we'll just see. Like I said, man, this is what we're doing. Trading bigger shares, trying to take pieces out as they continue to move here. And then, you know, we can hold enough to be wrong, and that's completely fine. I mean, the market just right now is making a move back down, which is why I just said, let's get out of half of this. I still like this. Actually, no, it was Apple that I put a tester lower on. Did I put a bid lower on Microsoft? Because I still want to try to buy some here, 376.40. No, that was my high side. The other one is 373.55. Okay, so you're trying to come back in a little bit here. So good. It's a good thing. We got out of about 40% of that, but here it comes falling back in, which is all good. 375 right there. We got to watch out for it losing that. And then 374 or so, I guess, 374.50, maybe a spot to be worried about, but here it comes, battling itself right back to the upside. We'll take a little bit more long if it does come back in and around 375.50. But for right now, we're long right here, right now. It is out of the money 7 cents, but we'll see if it can get going back up to the upside. People excited about Mara, I see.
Yeah, I was about to get to that one, but quickly, Affirm wicked 51 even, so we shorted the pop on Affirm. That was one of the two names we liked to the short side. Just got some out at 50.60 on the 90 fill, and then got Rivian on a pop into 24. So it broke 24, failed underneath, was able to get some 97s, want to get some out in front of the 80 level. And this Mara, you know what's going to be wild today. There's no question about it. Volatility is going to be in play here on Mara. It didn't quite get up to that 29.75 level, but at the open, but it's got a $1 candle on the opening candle for the first 3 minutes on a $29 stock. If this can take out that top again, I mean, who knows? It was a $2 drop from that level, but I do want to see it buy above 29.75 before I be too invested in that one to the long side. It's frustration, but as I said, sometimes when you make a move late and switch level 2s, I missed the shot there on the dip in ARM. If it comes back in, I'll take another shot here at 74.55. The other chip name we didn't talk about, apologies, AMD trying to break through the top. I still favor longs here. I like a dip to 145, we can get it. But if it just grip and rips to 147, that's good too. Just a couple of shorts on for me right now because they were the ones that set up.
Yeah, we only have the long, and we just got some longs on Microsoft that made 50 cents back to the upside again, and we bought some 375.50s, as you guys can see right there. We got some 54s and got it out at 90 there as it's trying to go back up. We're going to hold this to see if we get a 376, but look at this, man. The market is like, if this market was going upside, man, wow, the kind of moves we'd be having, but it's not, so we'll wait for this. I'm going to cancel my Apple. I mean, I'm still waiting. I still think it's fine. Let's just, oops, I just canceled something on that stock. I need to put another offer because I just canceled it. I was just going to say, let's try to go over some areas of maybe some concern here in case we do lose this. What about just 375? I mean, we've bounced off there a couple times today. You know, I kind of want to hold it a little bit lower, but I haven't really been seeing anything. 374.50, like I was saying, is kind of the level 2. So not a level 2, but the level that we're looking at. So 374.50. We'll try to buy a little bit more if it does come into 375. Like I said, we're not adding too much onto this position because of the market, quite frankly. But you know, maybe we can get some action here. Yeah, Roblox still at 46.50.
Roblox actually hit 90 for a second there. It made me put my order back in for the breakout trade, but now it's back at 46.50, so Roblox just fell back in again. I get excited. I got excited because I thought it was going to have a chance at a break, and obviously that's not going to be the case. I'm going to get to Rivian because that's threatening a little bit more than Affirm is right now. Rivian just bounced off the 80s and might make another challenge at that 24 level, but Tesla's coming down, so that's actually making me want to add to this position if I can in the 90s. As the market is sliding here, is Apple coming into... There we go. Apple, yeah, forget about Apple. 194. Forget about the dip buy. It's got to be above the 194 on that break. So look for the dip into 194. You're not going to get those 93s, it doesn't look like.
All right. No, that's what I'm still waiting for, those 93s. We'll see if we can get those back in. But if we get the 93s, then that means that our Microsoft has been squashed. So let's get ready to go. 374.50 for a drop zone here on this position in case it continues to make this move downside right now. Look, we're comfortable holding it, right? We're long at 91s. It's 50 cents out of the money. Let's wait to see if it continues to work. I mean, will this market bounce? That's the question at this point, right? So I still was feeling bullish today. I still am. We're still above the 50 period. We're still above 17.1. But if we take that 17.1, which is right here, then you're looking at this 17.050. And then when that gets hit, you know, then you're back down here to 17 and change. So Santa's been here, but he might not be here for very long. Let's see if some of these levels can hold out. And again, maybe that catalyst. It's just funny because 376, we talked about that as the long break, and it seems like it was still a very, very good top, man. That 376, some of the levels still being respected. Let's go over to Coinbase here. So 182. So there's the move right back up. Like we said, there's $4 straight back up to the upside right now, and it's bouncing off of its 200 period moving average. So this could be a short for Coinbase, but you got to watch out for Bitcoin. 42,800 still for BTC, but this could be a short here at 182.50. It's just, I don't know if I want to stand in the way, man. It can just kill you. Like there it goes. Like now it's another 3. Like that's 180 break straight to $3. So again, if you played, and I didn't have it marked down, I talked about it, I didn't love it, but if you had that 180 break again, there's $3. So and you can see by the spread, it's now 24 50 cents there for a second when it opens up. There's 40 cents right there. So be very, very careful with this name. It's Coinbase, and it's pretty juicy right now.
There was a question in the chat by Skybear. They're like, do you use stops? It's like, hell yeah, I use stops because you just said get run over. I was just short 65 into 75 on Mar, that 29.75 level. And if you don't use a stop there, you could lose potentially an extra like 10 cents. So if you're looking to risk 10 to 15 cents, a stop is going to help you to do that. Sometimes it means you get a bad execution out, but that's the price you're willing to pay to mitigate risk. So Mara just went through that 3/4 and it's showing some buying above, but Square or Block is challenging that $80 level. So here we go. I got a wick up to 80.30. So at the open, it kind of broke this level and then opened underneath it is what this candle is telling me, if I can believe that. So it broke out the 80 level. If it can get back above, I think Square can be a long over it. Still just in the 2 shorts, looking for an Apple dip buy that has not really come into play yet, but I do not want to rush into anything just yet. I think the crypto names are going to be in play for us. No love on SoFi. Unfortunately, it did make a dip, but it dipped to 10.20. That's obviously not close enough to $10 to take a long.
Oh man, I'm just writing this down here because I want to make sure I don't forget about Palantir. I want to fade this. I really, really do, and I'm thinking about doing it. But the problem is that I want the market to rip because if it does, man, we won't be doing backflips because I clearly can't do that. I would probably hurt myself, and it's not really worth it. But if the market can go back up, Microsoft's going to rally. But this is
CGI.
Yeah, CGI. Oh yeah.
Or CGI.
Yeah. No. It's CGI. I'll do a backflip on the green screen. Right there, 1770. This is a level that I like, man. It's had a huge move to the upside. Really bought off that support again, and this is where we got out yesterday. But look at it continuously working back up to the upside right now as Palantir does say hold my beer, and I believe it is probably, you're going to hear that there's been some buying in Palantir here this morning, and it was probably by someone that may or may not have just fake called us. So we'll wait to see what happens with Palantir. Already done 4 million shares. It's a huge move to the upside. I think it's worth a fade. I may take it small against 1780 right now, but realistically, my eyes are just keeps looking over here at Microsoft as it's not doing a whole heck of a lot. I feel good about getting some of these out now, especially that reloaded position. But right now, you're just kind of dancing. And unfortunately, we never got that fill down here as we were at 75.02. It didn't get that low. So that's what we're watching out for. Oh, don't even tell me. I got out of HUD 8. Like, what is this stock? Okay, it's still up nicely. But actually, no, today it's down, actually. Sorry. It's still better than where I got out. So that's why I was like, oh, okay. But anyways, HUD 8 down 9. And Mara, of course, as Neil looked at that, that's up to 30 again. So that's another key level. We talked about that the last couple of days. What's up, A?
Yeah, overall Chinese ADR strength has the theme. One of the themes of the day, as mentioned in the rundown. FUTU, another Chinese ADR running to the upside, almost up almost 6% right now. So watch FUTU, guys.
FUT moving. BABA was almost, see, again, these breakouts, man, like it just couldn't break 78. It goes to 77.80. I'm going to cancel the dip buy for a second, but I thought we were going to get the breakout at 78, and then it turned right around. JD.com was the other one that I was looking at. There we go. It's actually close to the 29.30 level. Hit it into a third time. Still favor that one for a breakout through that 29.30 if it can get there. Affirm made a challenge right back into that the ones. I did not get filled up here as it got to 50.85 in turnaround. I do look for a reload in Affirm if we can grab something on a lower high. And got to watch out for Rivian. Rivian came right back into that 24. Faded off of like 97. I got 96s and 92s on the way down, but this could take out the top. Sometimes you don't want to be more aggressive the second time through. That can come to bite you in the butt. It might happen here for me on Rivian. As Apple, sometimes you just got to really grit your teeth. VWAP doesn't matter this early to me, but you're getting a bounce off the quarters. I'm not really going to get a shot at this 194, it doesn't seem. So I know we like strength in this name. It's just not really giving me the fills that I would like for those longs. And yes, I know Sing is CING, I guess we'll call it Sing, is making some moves. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it. It is halted at $12, sorry, $11.92 with a tap at $12. It's the first halt of the day to the upside. Let's see where this one can go. I think I mentioned the pre-market high at 15. I was corrected overnight and early in the pre-market, like from 4 to 6. It actually touched 22. So correction there. We only chart things from usually like 6 or 7 o'clock here at Day Trade the World, but you're right, it got to like 22. So there are some levels up there on this stock, but it's at 12 right now.
I'm watching Apple, dude. Okay, so Sharif just reminded me about Apple, but really I'm only in one trade right now. And Microsoft just came back to flat and didn't go. It went back to 375.90 and was just, see right here, it was just bouncing around, literally 90s, right where we're in. So come on, Microsoft, there is a seller here. Like every time it tries to go, the offer is stacking up a little bit here. Can't break it. I don't know, man. I don't want to get out because I know once I get out, it probably flies. But let's just continue to wait on it and try to find something else. A name that obviously I'm going to try to short a firm as well. I was looking at Shopify possibly at $78 there for Shop, looking like it may want to break. I don't know what some of these charts, but there it is right there, 78.50. This kind of a top here for Shopify. So we've now oops, there it is. Okay, good. We've now broken below 78. So I was thinking like a little bit of a bump up anywhere into here, 78.60 or so, possibly a decent short. And again, we want to try to short names that are a week, right? I mean, and right now Shopify is down while the market's up. So that's going to be one of those cases. I know Sharif was just mentioning Apple, but I just want to tell you it's not super moving. I did have a bid at 194.11 that I canceled, which I should not have. We would have got filled right there at 10s, but that doesn't matter. Here it goes right now. Apple possibly a break long through 194.70 here as it's trying to go back up to the upside. So let's wait to see what happens. 194.70 possible break long now on Apple. I don't want to be long Apple and Microsoft, especially at not a great price for Microsoft and now buying the tops here for Apple. But yeah, I feel like this is worth a shot. I'm going to do it. 194.70. Yeah, I got it.
It's like the only big cap name that, okay, it's maybe not the only big cap name, but it is one of the only ones that looks like a long. Although there is something which is trying to get back above 147. That's AMD. This was another strong stock this afternoon. Sorry, yesterday in the afternoon. Maybe it will be today in the afternoon. I have no idea. But for now, if it can get back and show some actual buyers above 147, I want
to the market turn around
again.
But
the market's just flushing. Like nothing is holding out and looking like the long that I want to just jam into. So I have a couple of shorts on, and one of them is not even working at the moment, which is Rivian. The initial short was good, but the secondary is not playing out at all. So I'm looking for something else that could be a fade that is looking weak, and I'm just not necessarily seeing it. For anyone tracking NEO, it's at 950. Okay, this was at 930, like 15 seconds, like a minute ago. But it's at that 950 level. NEO is absolutely flying. I guess this.
Oh no!
I know it was at 910 at the open, and now it's going to make this 950 play. That's a huge resistance level on NEO. You know what? If it dips off of this level, I might just go long into it as well.
Oh man, yeah. No, I mean
on huge volume too. Like the volume's.
I was bidding 895 on NIO, but that's not going to work out. And again, look what just happened here for Softy. It doesn't matter. It's just, it stopped again right where we're long. And now here comes the fall. I'm just pretty nervous about averaging in too much into this name. So Tesla found support. Okay, I mean, this is what we're trying to do, is try to find names that maybe are on, that are on some kind of support. There's 363. I mean, this was, again, the level that I said we would wait to see if there's any.
Roblox broke?
No, I don't even have that bid out for. Yeah, it did. It's right here at 47 right now.
Yes, it did.
Okay, so we'll go long at O's here on Roblox, and I like Roblox here, but I'm not. Again, to be all this long when the market's not really doing too much. But there's Tesla. We talked about 263 coming right back into it, and congratulations anybody that has that, because you are now, not me, you are now part of the Dollar Club on that take there on Tesla. I didn't notice Roblox, so it's a good thing you mentioned it. I just went over there and punched in, so we're now long 47. I've liked that break. A little bit of a dip back into VWAP would not surprise me, as this market, I don't know if we should even be going long right now. The market is getting hit a little bit here. And like we said, we could turn red. We're looking up for that 17.1 hold. We just got it at 17.2. VWAP for Roblox, in case anybody's looking at it, 46.80 or so. It's kind of just mishmashed in here, but it's in and around this area. So 46.75, maybe a dip back down there. And I'm bidding that. I'm bidding 46. 26.80. So if this does come back in, which it's looking like it wants to do, we'll get that trade on and see if we can manage it through, as this long on Microsoft is still hovering around the bottom. Let's see what happens with Roblox. What's up, Adara?
Dish is moving right now up about 4.25%. Yesterday, after market close, the Dow Jones announced that EchoStar will be replacing Dish Network in the S&P Small Cap 600 around January 2nd, because EchoStar will be acquiring Dish, and the acquisition will be completed by that time. So keep an eye on Dish. One to watch. Interesting catalyst here, guys.
Oh, wow. Mara just wicked 30, but like when I say wicked, it broke by 20 cents and is now flushing. It's one thing to look for shorts. You got to find them and actually get some executions on it. Really, Neil's going to break the 50 level at this time? Yeah, the timing on Neo breaking that 950 is probably horrible. So I'm not even going to hold this past 945. And not the time. It's 946 right now, 948 right now. I'm talking about the price. We can take multiple cracks at this when it calms back down, but Roblox just broke a high when the market was going to the downside. Neo did the same thing. I do want to try the short on Mara off of that 30 level. It just feels like you had to be super aggressive on that wick, and I wasn't. The other name that just came back in is Apple. So Apple dipped into 194. I want to hold it to 193.90. Like, where does that price come from? It was at the open yesterday. It was resistance at the open yesterday, that's all. So the market is going to the downside. It was like I was in two shorts and looking for more, and then all of a sudden have dip buys instead. That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, I just bought some Apple too. I mean, it's all the way back in here. It's going to be hopefully, look, I was just saying under my breath, or I don't know if you guys heard me or what, but this could be disastrous. Like, if this market doesn't hold, I'm long everything. I'm long now Apple, which is good. Hopefully that will work out for us. Let's just take some scalps out here. As again, remember, it's like trying to trade. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, buddy. Right now, let's go Apple. Let's go. Nice little move to the upside right there on Apple, as we just bought that dip. We actually got long at 14s. Or am I long at 13s? Takes them out here at 25s. Now into the 30s. Let's see if Apple can continue its march a little bit higher. I am going to wait for 194.30. See if we can get that, as the high of the day is in the 60s right here for Apple. So good. We made a little bit of money back right now. I'm going to put a 27 actually offered out right now, because like I said, if this market continues its move to the downside, I don't know how long these positions are going to be able to last for in my account, because I'm not trying to get busted out here. Well, I won't get busted out, but we will get busted on some of these positions. We did just take another fill there on Microsoft, just because it keeps on bouncing here. Don't love this trade. 374.50 is when we say see you later to Microsoft. So it's going to have to break right into here. That's kind of those levels from yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, and then we closed. It looks like there was a big buy imbalance maybe at the end of the day. So those prices are 374. I just, again, with the amount of shares and everything, I'm just not going to play like that. I'm not going to hold it all the way down there. So we're going to watch out for it. Here it comes. For 374.50 is going to be the break spot for that one. And it looks like Roblox might have the same sort of fate here as it continues to march lower as well. Look, no love in this market. The longs are just, they're not going to print.
No,
so,
they're not printing. Like, I'm slapping a fail on. There was that moment where it broke to the bottom. And Apple's holding on to 194, but there was that moment where it's like a couple of longs set up at the exact wrong moment when I wanted short positions. I do think a firm here at VWAP can be a play. So it's not necessarily a reload, because to me a reload happens at the same price area off the same level. But on the add to the downside, I want to be adding to things that are working if we can here. I gave Neo a tight stop, but you know what? It's seemingly strong enough that it can get up there again. You know what? If it takes 50 a second time, despite the market plunging, maybe I take a shot at it. But I much prefer a dip into VWAP here. When the market is weak, the best opportunity is usually to let it come back to you. If you like the long. So we'll see if that can happen here on NIO. If it goes, maybe I take it for from lower size. A firm through 50 could be a play as well to the south side. And Rivian, that's now above that 24 level. The other upside level, 24.60, almost a bigger one on Rivian. So this one's got some strength in it. Could have reversed that one. I guess that was a good long, but didn't sniff that one out. Unfortunately here. 24.60, that's a triple top if you go back to last week. If it can break that one, what this market is doing, I'll be a little bit surprised. And then one last one before we head back. Mara is trying to bounce off $29 here. If it's going to be a short, this could be the pop. that gives an opportunity back into the 30 level to give a little bit of a play on Mar. I was in and out pretty quickly with a tight stop on Mar the first time.
Yeah, I mean, we both got Apple to the green side. I know you have a firm, and then that's it, man. So we don't have really many green stocks today as we've been going long. I still feel like the long could be here. We just bounced again off 17.1. I mean, I don't know. It's been a couple wicks down here and a couple retraces back up, but then we're still not making higher lows. So hopefully hopefully this candle can get us back to the upside. It's a darn good thing, man, that we head over to Apple because Apple's been a good one. And we just keep on getting some pieces out here. Now we'll take a 28. I was going to offer some 32s, but I'll take another piece out. Now let's go right up to 40 in case this market does try to go. So we'll take another piece out up there in and around 40 bucks and see if that will work. Our net is completely fine. Like, it's just nothing's really moving. Pfizer on the move up.
ARM is actually breaking.
What about the chip names? We haven't even looked at the chip names today. AMD 147 again. Okay, what was that in relation to yesterday? So AMD obviously is up today, but what was the high? I mean, oh man, what's up? We got so many little bad wicks here on a lot of these charts. Okay, just quickly, I will fix that, but let me just check out what NVIDIA is doing quickly. So, okay, I wanted to see, this is actually where I sold my last NVIDIA shares right here, 494, 492, and it's just made that move again to 498 and stopped. That was at 8:30, but nice move to the downside now as there's the market again doing that same damn thing again, man, where it made the tops, hit it, came right back in and tested 17.1 again. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky trade today. There's no doubt about that. As we sit here and try to, or I try to anyway, like absorb some of these hits. I still think it's fine. Apple just went there. Did we just get another bid on Apple? No, we didn't. Okay, I'm trying to watch out to see where some of these names are going. But so far, not the greatest performance as the market's been sell side there. Weak names, man. I mean, Affirm. I know it's too bad we don't have big position there.
I'm now looking for a long in ARM above 75. It's just it missed the dip buy. We talked about that. I made a keystroke error. I was on the wrong level too and punched into the wrong stock. Had to immediately get out flat. It was actually on Tesla, punched in and out, paid a little bit of spread, but it was to bid here. Should have been bidding here on ARM. If it can hold 75s, the market is weak and the stock is strong. So I want to see a dip back into 75. We're going to Adara at the desk.
Another small cap runner here. This one is a low float, around 937,000 shares for this one. So very low float here. Nova Lifestyles, NVFY is the ticker, up almost 250%, guys.
All right.
NBF.
All right. Well, I got obviously a little bit bigger fish to fry, but all right. So that's a good name. Thanks for that, Adara. And again, guys, like make sure you pay attention to everything that Adara is saying because some of these names will be lower names that you guys are trading and wondering what's up with some of these moves. So thanks to Adara for all of that. 9:55 coming up right now. Let me just check our watch list here to see if we do have any things coming at 10. I thought we had something coming through. Oh, we do have pending home sales at 10. So that should move the market a little bit right now coming up soon. Well, yes, Kevin O'Leary, 10:45. Thank you so much for that one, Fabian. All right, so here we go. We're getting pretty close, man. I mean, Microsoft broke through 375. It's kind of doing nothing at this level, but still going down. And we already hit that long at 376 and just been sitting in it. We haven't averaged into this too much. We only have one fill there. The one average that we did take, we got it out for 50 cents almost immediately. But since then, it's really turned on its head. So here goes Microsoft trying to make another move to the downside. It's going to suck because it looks like it's going to be an L, but we'll learn our lesson again. I really like that 376 break long. It just didn't happen for us. So that is what happens sometimes. All right, here goes Apple right through 194. I don't want to give this one too much room. If this breaks through like 193.80 or so, 193.90, then we'll get out of it. But again, like holding longs into a market that's looking like this is just not good. What will pending home sales do? Probably do a little bit of a wash back and forth. I don't really have a good read on what pending home sales is going to be. With interest rates making its way back, I could see it being better, but we'll wait to see here with 3 minutes to go on pending home sales. We're long Apple at 9s.
Yeah, it's just barely holding on to that 194, but it is holding. So I want to at least acknowledge the fact that it's holding. Mara is still holding 29 even. Forget about VWAP for at least a split second here. I think if it just rolls over back through 29, this could see that 28 bottom. Now, that was a big liquidity grab down there. So if it gets to 28, I think any short is no longer any good. I missed the Neo VWAP test. That is 100% right, Shane. I was on the bid right there at 36. I've just moved it up to 39. I might have to give this, and maybe move something into the 40 level as well, because it bounced and did not give me the fill on NIO. I said the dip buy was probably better than the breakout trade, and still took the breakout trade anyways and lost 5 cents. Right, so it's one thing to have a plan, but you have to follow the plan as well. Shout out to everyone in the chat not missing out on up. Wheels up, that is. This stock is absolutely quadunking. After a monster day yesterday, it's now SSR. Watch out for 420 on this stock. SSR bounce is when it's 10% down and short sell restricted. The 420 price is the key one on the daily, so I think it's worth looking at wheels up. Good shout out. That was a big mover for like 4 or 5 days in a row. I don't know that it was traded on the show unless it was a midday.
All right, we're wheels upping on Apple right now. We bought some more 194s, but it's a funny stock right now. That is Apple. I'm going to, with just a couple minutes until pending home sales. Roblox did breathe some life back into itself there, back into 80s again for RBLX. Not really a big problem, but I wouldn't mind getting something out, even if it was for a small little hit right now as we're long at 92. Just heading into pending home sales. I know we have a minute to go before that happens, but here comes Roblox a little bit. We just took a little bit more out there. I am nervous about what we're seeing right now. There's Apple. We just got a 15 fill or something like that. I'm going to put another fill right now. Why not take an 11 as we're 30 seconds away, as we're just trying to get better here. And guess what, man? Oops, we did it again with a firm. There it is right there, man. We got the reload, and it is just cash money right now for a firm. So there it is, man. Right the position that we wanted, and we put that in. Thank you so much, Sharif, for that one with the coffee.
No, good, thank you.
That is 40. My next bid on this, actually, we got all of our bids on a firm. So my next bid down here in the 30s, but that just saved my net right there. A firm and Roblox. 10 seconds. We want to go to Adara? All right, happening now, home sales.
Yeah, indeed. We're just waiting for these home sales numbers to come in here. Pending home sales month over month, expected 0.6. We got 0, so this was a little bit positive. Then we also had pending home sales year over year. These also came in a little bit higher than expected, negative 0.2. Versus negative 0.6. Pending home sales a little bit lower here, 0% versus 0.6% expected. So that is the home sales numbers here. I have the Qs up here, not super impacted from what I can tell by these numbers as of yet, but that is the home sales data for today. We also had job numbers coming in earlier today as well, so a little bit of data on this Thursday. In terms of stocks making moves right now, we do have XPeng up almost 8.5%. This is amongst overall strength for Chinese ADRs after a really strong day for them trading on the Chinese markets. We also have Plug Power up about 0.85%. This one was also really strong. On Wednesday, they did announce the completion of their first electrolyzer installation at an Amazon.com center. So that is the news here on Plug Power. Definitely a name to watch along with XPeng. Brought to you by Surge Trader, where traders can get a funded trading account up to $1 million and give up to 90% of the profits. The program has simple rules and no time limits. Just go to surgetrader.com/TTV and use the promo code TTV for 10% off.
All right.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Putting in work again, you can see, despite the voice, I mean, it's been absolutely fantastic, sort of powering through. We got to acknowledge it, to be sure. Apple just made a bounce into the quarter. I took some out because the market made another leg to the downside, and I just got in VWAP here in Mar. I want to give this one to that 75 level again, so that's the 3 new things, because Neo did dip back in. Moved my bid. I said you guys, I moved the bid from 36s out into 40 because I wanted to get this long on the dip buy. It didn't quite get the VWAP last time, so let's see if we can get it this time through. And then one more for you, ARM. I don't know what to tell you about this stock. It's continuing to go. I just keep moving my bid higher for a dip. There's not a red candle since 9:45. It is just flying to the upside. This will be, I know for sure this will be my one regret. It's not having the arm long. In a market which is relatively weak right now, this stock is absolutely flying. And AMD above 147 as well. Challenging this 148 level, still have that wick in there. I'll try to get rid of it next time. If it pulls back off 148, I think you want to join AMD to the long side. It still feels like a pretty strong stock. These chip names, at least some of them, I haven't really looked at NVIDIA today, are carrying the day because the market's down. And I got a couple of them that are flying. I haven't looked at Intel. It's probably up. No, actually, no, never mind. Intel's down today. I was going to say it's probably up, but maybe you see the 50 level on Intel. That could be a good dip buy.
So we'll talk about Microsoft because it just took 374.50, so we got out of 75% of that position. It looks like it's going to go lower. So this one we will slap a fail on this because it did, you know, it took it out and there it goes all the way down. Let's see if it can battle back. It can battle back and we could still be fine. We still have 75% of it. Let me take one more shot there just in case that was I made the bottom or something. I don't think so though. But this is going to be the one that's cooking up right now, Affirm. We've done really well on Affirm, and that one was able to get us the short. We're now 30 cents in the money on this one. But again, you know, the one shot that I took was Microsoft there, and it did not work. But we did really bank out there on Apple. Apple just went up to 20s again there. So look at this, buy out, buy out. So it's like these dip buys in the extremes have been fine, right? It's just, you got to sort of be a little bit patient, as I still feel like 17.1 is coming for vengeance right now at that bottom side there. So be very, very careful with that trade. But yeah, definitely Microsoft flush city on that one. So that's not a good trade. Roblox. Okay, we did have that 47. We obviously got excited when it went up there. I was like, oh my God, it went up there. We both didn't realize that. I punched long, which is fine. We averaged, was not fine, but we averaged into it at VWAP. It had a nice little move back. We were long at, our initial position was, I think it was 91s or something like that, because we had a 47 and then an 80. So in here somewhere around 91. So all the positions that we've had out on Roblox have been hits. So this will not be a positive stock for me, but could still have that potential. Apple is a positive name, but look at this name. It is also fading out a little. There it goes. I was going to say it is a positive name, but also fading out through 194 right now. So yeah, the market today, really no bounce, but again,
unless there's a couple of chip names, that's all I see.
Yeah, a couple chip names, man, and then obviously the only short that I have all day is a banger here with Affirm. So we're bidding 30s on Affirm, and then hopefully it will just continue its march lower, and we'll be able to take a little bit of advantage of that one as we wait for Apple to settle down and Microsoft possibly as well. But that Palantir, I guess that short was probably. Come on. That Palantir short that I literally, I mean, I was writing it down that I should probably take in and I didn't do it. And there it is. Nice little downside move there. Again, that's called trading your book. Like I was long Microsoft, so I shied away from Palantir. And 1775 is exactly the levels we talked about in the pre. So missed opportunity there for me for sure. As there goes Apple.
Apple just came out.
Yeah, Apple came out for me too. But again, that's okay. That stock is fine. It was just, I'm just upset about the mic. I'm not upset.
Yeah, this will, like, Apple ends up a flat trade for me despite the bounce. I did go long twice off that level, and the first time didn't scalp any profit out, adjusted to scalping it, which I guess will be the saving grace on that move. Like, the market just wants to head lower. Affirm continues lower, but I want to get Nikola here, so I don't want to chase too far, but Nikola has just shown a brick wall at 90, and I like shorting the stock. So if it breaks 89, I'm going to get half in at 89, and then see if we can't, if I can even get some in at the 89 level. Had to pay for locates on Nikola, so it's one of those, I mean, it's not easy to borrow, but we had locates on it for very, very cheap. I think it was 1/8 of 1 cent here at Day Trade the World. Rivian is at 24 again, which is wild that it's actually bouncing here. I was looking to see on this market move down whether or not this is going to hold underneath 24 for another short, but Rivian, I hate to say it, I was thinking short on the stock, but above 24, it almost should be a long. So we're back to square one with one short and looking for a couple more. I mean, Tesla's breaking 260 right now.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, my gut is telling me I want to punch short Rivian through 24 if that's going to happen. So this is a stock I'm on because I had a plan for short under 24 here. But I might end up staring at it and it doesn't break, and then I could have gone long. It is what it is. The market's going down. I'd rather be shorting it.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about before. It's like this market was a short. And the funny thing is like I said, we're just going to 17.1. And I mean, that's where we're at right now. So I don't know why I'm only short one name, but it's a good one, man. And it's going to be good. It's Affirm. And, you know, we'll make more money on Affirm than we lost. Well, we lost a little bit on Apple, and then even on Roblox, even on the long. This was a good trade, man. And we liked Affirm. We've liked that for a while. There's the short against the 200 period moving average on the 1 minute chart. So let's see if that continues to go. Same kind of things happening right now to Softy. You're coming right back into 374. So that's wow. I'm not speechless, but this market made the move that we kind of thought it would. It's not even like it's only red just right now. This is when we should be looking to maybe buy something, just of how low exactly we are right now. But hey, this market still wants to go down every single. The thing's happening on Microsoft with the ones, by the way. So I don't know. It's actually still happening on Apple as well. There's some program out there that is really right now just buying, doing some funny things. Like look at all these ones here on Microsoft. I've already, like we said about this market being rigged, look at all these ones right here happening on Apple right now as well. But I haven't really been able to solve this. I mean, the market will still move how it wants to move, and it's just one share, but it's the peppering, and it's like it just not being able to go kind of bothers me a little bit. But all right, we have Roblox, we have Microsoft, and we have Affirm short. We already took a nice piece out there on Affirm. Let's put another bid near 50 in case it does fall down, and we'll try to take that 80 cents. But so far, not so good for the longs today.
No, again, if you're in like 2 or 3 names that were on my list and you like them to the long side, then it's been fine for you. Just want to get a bid and show you why. Affirm has bounced off 50. It's worth mentioning $50 was the close on Monday. Pretty much exactly. So $50 is a good level on Affirm. If it can't hold on to that, I think it's got room down to 49 even. So this is one that could still be a short for most of the day. AMD just dipped and then somehow didn't dip into 47. Like, seriously? Like, you can get all the shares you want in the longs that are no good, but you can't get a dip into VWAP on some of these strong names. That's how it is today. So I don't want to chase, but I do want to be in it. The consolidation showing 147.40. I feel like waiting for VWAP is the thing to do, and I'm the same way with ARM as well. There are a couple of small caps making some power moves today, but this is one where I think you want to stick to the names that you've been tracking. Right? Like I don't want to jump into too many things that are new. AMD and ARM are 2 ones that I went over. Another one that we did like for a break, potential break, was Square off the 80 level. And like everything else I'm looking at, it's like, oh, instead of looking for a breakout at a key level, if you had just shorted that level, you couldn't have lost. But hey, you have your plan of action. The only good thing about Square is I didn't take long. That's about it.
All right. Hours and 15s. All right. So we got a little bit longer there on Softy. We were actually waiting for a little bit more when we saw all of those ones going off, and then I went off on it and should have been looking there a little bit better. But right now we're back into the money on Microsoft. Again, whether or not this market rips from here, we've already taken the L's. So I'm going to wait to see if we can make it back to the 200 period, right? 374, like something right here in the 80s or something. You know what? Now that we've made this move back, again, like, we'll have to take a little bit out. So there it is right there at 65 or 64. We'll take a piece out as our net's starting to climb back. So that's nice, but we're obviously going to be red. Our biggest trade today was Softy. And then we just punched a little bit more out on Affirm as that went through. I thought it was going to go through VWAP, but we got some out at 41s, and that's still trying to dance a little bit here, but let's go, man. Nicely rebounded here on Softy. Again, hits down into that sort of pre-market dark pool dump there at 8 o'clock into 374. So if any of you are looking and saying like, hey, maybe we need to pay attention to dark pools, I said yesterday I hadn't seen much of a need for them, and I still really don't. But today right there, it did ping that pretty much dead on. So I'll take another fill here. And then now we're going to wait for those 80s to come through on Microsoft, and hopefully we'll be able to get those. If not, then whatever. But we'll wait to see if that comes through right now for Softy. 374.78. We'll wait for that one. And then Roblox having a little bit of a time here, trying to go back up. We did buy those 50s, of course, which again was the pre-market bottom. So let's see. Just got a little too excited for the longs today, man.
Big level alert here, and it's weird because it's a strong stock. Penn up here. I just asked Adara for the news on Penn because I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm assuming it's not up 7% because it's Penn. So looks like HG Vora Capital Management have reported a 9.6% stake in Penn and requested the right to designate yada yada yada. So they want to name some directors and realize full potential of the stock. So activist not interest, but an actual buy here in Penn. Look at the resistance here at 26.75, 26.80 on the daily chart. If this can chew through that, it could easily see a 10% day. So Penn, go for longs and strong stocks. I think AMD is giving you that opportunity. Penn, it's hard to buy tops like this in a market that's down, but if it can consolidate above this level on the daily chart, I think you just look for the consolidation long. I need to set up a long, not just kind of blindly punch the high of the day. AMD 148 about to break.
148?
This thing's a rocket ship. It's an absolute rocket ship.
Wow.
AMD and ARM are just absolutely flying to the upside. And we knew AMD was strong because it was one of the strongest stocks yesterday. It just wasn't on my list of names that I was in love with right at 9:30 because my setup was for a dip buy on AMD, not necessarily a breakout. And then everything else gave dip buys, except for this.
Wow.
Wow is the right word.
Oh man, that is such a monster move on AMD. Nvidia's probably at that $5 bills. We're just lucky enough to get a 78 fill there on Microsoft. So like,
well, actually.
Hallelujah on Microsoft, guys. We able to, remember I told you we got out of 75%.
It's flat.
Yeah, that was the strange thing. Like I'm trying to watch Nvidia here because I thought like $5 bills, right? Like the way that when you mentioned that about AMD, I was like
down 1%.
Yeah, Intel. So the thing about Intel is I think it's had its day. I mean, it was a nice move. It has amazing. I mean, Intel's been awesome, but that was a huge move. And I could see the same thing that's happening in Intel is kind of what I thought would be happening. Oh yeah, that's right. I still have this stupid wick here. In AMD, right? Like once it gets going, this thing is, the problem is you got to click it exactly on. Shout out to everybody who's watching right now. Hit the like and the subscribe as we are putting on real live trades here and trying to discuss all of these trades with you. But there goes AMD. And the thing is like, I'm here for a pullback. Like I want to buy dips in this name, 147, as maybe Neil just mentioned there. But at some point, there's going to be a pushback down. So, you know, we've gotten run over on AMD before, but then we've taken shots and then wound up being okay on it, like maybe 1 or 2 shots to the top side, because now 148 is trying to actually hold. So, you know, maybe this is a level of somewhat of concern here up at 148. And also you get a little bit of a wick top there. The volume was pretty increased there on that breakthrough 148, and that high of the day is 148.30. So maybe it is worth holding a little bit here against that position of 148.30. I'm going to stay away and stay no to that because I really want the long to work out here. And again, here we go, trading our book, which we should not be doing. Microsoft, good out, but it is fading back in. I do want to take more long, though, down at 374 if it comes in. So we've rinsed out of some of those trades, man, and made a little bit of money back, but we will still be red on Softy. Let's see if we can get a better bid down there near 375. ARM is at 76.
I just took the 70 break. Sorry. 70 break. The 76 break on ARM because you're not getting dip buys. I got filled at 08. So ARM is a $70 stock that just slipped almost 10 cents.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean that's ARM for you. It immediately filled at 25s and then just filled at 40s. This stock is super strong. All-time highs for ARM. It's powering it to the upside. I mean, congratulate anybody that had this at the open. I didn't. 75 could have been a break. I did like a dip buy at 74.50 and made what I want to call a horrendous keystroke error on ARM, which was to punch into the wrong stock. Like I thought I went to flip stocks from one to another, and I did it too fast, and I didn't hit enter, and I was still on the previous stock, and then I hit bid and enter before it actually switched, which is a stupid thing to do. I punched into the wrong stock, and ARM went. I'm going to take my dollar and run because it's just how I'm rolling on ARM. I'm going to play every single dip because we should have had that one, but that break, like look how quickly it goes to the upside. Like you're fighting longs in stocks that aren't going, and then you have 2 chip names which are absolutely flying. Like I'll be frustrated by this because I fought Apple, that didn't work. I fought Roblox, that didn't work. When like this was a long pretty much the entire way. So any dip, I want to go dip and rip on this bad boy. We might reload a firm to the south side. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to buy AMD because 47 is not going to happen, and I don't know yet. Is the only answer I have, which is fine because, you know, it's chasing a move is not always going to be easy because if it was an even dollar breakout that just sets up and you like it, grip and rip. But here, 147.40 can set up because it was kind of this pre-market or this opening wick high to 30s. VWAP is a potential setup in there. maybe 148, but that's a maybe. I'm not 100% sure about that just yet. So Nikola, that's the other trade we had. It broke 89. I said I'd take half. If it broke there, look to get the other half in the 89.5 range. And if it breaks 90 cents, I'm out. But I want to sit in the Nikola short. Every time it makes this kind of pullback off the $1 level, I want to look for a short opportunity. Sometimes it's a consolidation bottom to try to get into this low at 87 cents. So if I risk a cent, you know, 1 to 1.5 cents, I'm looking to get a move down into 87 and potentially lower on Nikola.
All right. So again, I feel like holding 30 cents against me on Apple is probably worth it. I mean, that went right into the 200 period again. And I know all of you are going to be adding 200 periods now to your 1 minute chart probably. And I think you should. You know, again, a pretty good little look there. We saw Microsoft bounce off of, or no, it wasn't Microsoft, it was Firm on the top side. And then there's Apple on the bottom. But you got to be, you know, like again, the amount of shares or whatever, it's just you got to be comfortable holding them. And unfortunately, there we did wind up getting out, but that was okay. Ins, outs. Now we'll hold this. I'm going to hold it to the backside of that trade. So let's see if that comes through. I have a feeling it'll be okay here on Apple, and we're going to give it all the way back in. And if I lose on an Apple long, I mean, I like the story. It's up today. The market is flat. So this should work. And if it doesn't, then, I mean, it's just going against what I normally trade. So again, there are going to be some days, we talked about this, man, with this kind of strategy, we're red 2 days this month. So it's like we're having a good month, but this could be this is so far the third day. And it's just like some of these trades just aren't holding, but I feel like we did screw up Microsoft there. We weren't patient enough with it. But again, you know, we've been taking shots on level breaks that have been working. It's just today right there. It was really cruising, man. I was so happy. We were like, yeah, let's go. And then all of a sudden the market right there off the open turned around and then headed right to that 17.1 as we decided. And then as we discussed, and literally, as my kids say, stopped on that dime.
Literally.
So, yeah.
My daughter, she's starting that too. That
she's doing sus now?
Yeah,
Okay. That's too bad.
My daughter's into the whole sus thing. It gets her newest phrase. And the funny thing is, like, I won't call, I know the kid that taught it to her, like, in her class. And he's a good kid, and they're friends. But it's like every new thing, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly where that one came from. She's 7, she's 6 going on 7, but in some ways I think 12, which is, it's fine. Kids grow up too fast. Alibaba, if we're finding strong stocks, remember Alibaba that we kind of liked? Well, Alibaba is just holding near the high of the day here. Maybe VWAP retracement or a clean breakout through the high. Look at it, higher lows into a, what do we call it? Ascending wedge. That's the term I was looking for. Sharif's all about that, Mr. Chartered Market Technician there. But a 77.80 break looks strong. The market is weak, and this is trying to take out some tops. See, we know a few chart patterns every now and then. It's not like we completely ignore them. We also don't ignore the small cap recap and a Dara at the desk.
NVFY, one of our big low float runners of the day. This one has a float of under $1 million. Nova Lifestyles is the company, up almost 200% right now in the day. So watch NVFY. We also have IOVA is the ticker, Iovance. This one actually was trading lower than the daily chart here, much lower yesterday after the FDA slapped a clinical hold on one of its lung cancer studies. Now we're up about 14%, so I guess this is a bit of a rebound here for IOVA. Last but not least, Coherus. This one ran yesterday after getting a price target increase from H.C. Wainwright and announcing the approval of one of its medical delivery systems. This one up 16% today. Looks like we're still trading off of that news from yesterday, guys.
All right. We're trying to make our way back here in this market. So we did take a firm just came all the way back up. Okay. All right, a firm. I was just going to say we took another piece out right here not too long ago at 43, and I was just going to try to check back on this name. But yes, let's go. Like my net is going up here, and assumed, honestly, I'm not even paying attention to Affirm, to be honest with you, but it is a nice little move back to the upside right now for AFRM. But look at this. Let's go Softy. And then also, we just got, oh, no, we did not. There's another piece out on Softy. Here comes Apple again. We do have an offer at 10s, I believe, or so on Apple. And if we can get that, that will be pretty good. And then let's go. Just needs to go up a little. Look at this. Look at it not breaking through 8. You want to talk about iceberg orders and things like that? Look at all the shares going through 8 there. Ones, yet not even touching. There it is. We get some 9s. Not even touching. When I said 10s, I was at 9s right there. So now we'll see if Apple can start to go back up to the upside. That's that stock. I don't really have too much else on right now, guys, to be honest with you. Just everything we're talking about. We're 40 cents in the money now on Microsoft, but we need more than that if we're going to get green on this name. So let's go Microsoft. We are doing pretty good holding this. Oh, yeah. Moderna was, damn it. I just saw someone in the chat, definitely holding off that Hyundai right there. We did say that we would like to get some Moderna if it did drop in, and we did call, the short out was at 105. That didn't hit there today, but Moderna right now making that move back. Okay, Apple's trying to go, and then I want to check out AMD. Oh, damn it, I got to short that at some point. Coinbase as well, still holding out at 185 as Bitcoin's at 42,550 right now. Come on, Softy, come on. Apple, let's go Apple. We are now well positive on Apple as we make all of that back right now on Apple, and that's exactly why we're trading. And this is what I mean. When things are working well for you, stay the course. Like, sure, Microsoft was a disaster, but, we're buying back names here. We're sticking with what we're doing. And so far, so good here, making a little bit of money back on what was a disastrous open. But, they say it on the midday show now, too. It's like, you got to have some confidence, right? If you have some confidence in your plays, sure, you're going to get stopped out, man. Like 17-3 or whatever this month, I'll take it, and that 3 is in question. But you got to stick with what you're doing. Come on, Microsoft. Let's get going back up to the upside. My next out on this bad boy, I think is above 75s, right? Oh, I have one at 88 and then 75.20. So right there, that's 94. We want to try to respect some of these levels, but if we can break it up, that's VWAP at 50. So a couple more pennies upside, and we'll be okay on this position. But let's go. We're well cooking now, man. Roblox. Cook, baby. Let's go. Some nice action here happening in the market. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. And if you're not,
then you don't like action.
Yeah. Hit the like and subscribe either way.
Which is absolutely fine. And don't forget, in about 20 minutes, 20 minutes or so, we're going to have Mr. Wonderful popping by via Zoom. He's locked and loaded, ready to go talk a little bit about the markets. We're excited to have him through. There's a lot to discuss. It's been a ridiculous year. Maybe some of these chips. Oh my goodness, AMD again. AMD.
Kablam.
So obviously, I got out of ARM too early. It's at 77.50. Buy next available dip. I keep looking for that entry on the dip buy. I do not want to be fighting stocks. I want to be joining strong stocks instead of fighting weak ones. And ARM, 76 to 77. It was a breakout trade. I ended up buying this stock $1.50 from where I wanted it at the open. And sometimes that kind of anchoring can alter the way that you approach the trade. There's no question about it. When you get anchored to, I want an entry price here or here, when you're paying up there, you're not necessarily going to think you'll have as big of a move. But it is green skies to the upside. I don't know if AMD's just breakout trades as well. I'm out of Affirm. It couldn't hold on to that 51 level, so it's pretty much gone. And then remember Rivian and 24. 24 is the right price. It's also a pretty good show. The best president in TV history. Shout out to Mr. Palmer there. But 24 is certainly the right price, and I should have gone in long. I talked myself out of it and said I might stare at this, waiting for it to break down. Instead, it looks like Rivian wants to break out. It's got room to 24.60. That's a big level to the upside. So I will look for longs now. You've got to be able to adjust, and my adjustment is now accepting the fact that this is a long off 24. As we go back to the desk with Adara.
Yeah, just an update here. SIDU moving to the upside, up almost 80%. Sidus Space is the company's name. They're looking forward towards the 2024 launch with the CEO making some clarifications about their goal to their customers and their goal to deliver cutting edge technologies in space. So keep an eye on SIDU running to the upside, guys.
Okay, sorry, I was actually Maybe it's Sidhu. I call it Sidhu, and I will always call it Sidhu. I was just telling Sharif the story that one of our buddies, Sean and myself, one of our buddies from high school, Sean and I have known each other since high school. We were in the Hammer, which is Hamilton, visiting a friend in university. Let's just say that things got a little bit out of hand. Somebody may or may not have ended up in the drunk tank. It was not me, but they made a lifelong friend in Sidhu.
It was also not me, by the way.
It was not. Well, it was not Sean either.
Slow down.
But essentially, all that happened is Sidhu on the way out said, "Hey, I'll see you next week." And if you're saying I'll see you next week to a person in the drunk tank, then you've got an interesting life. So I give a tip of the cap to Sidhu when I see it. Here comes the high of the day break on Rivian. It looks like it wants to go 24.25. Is that high of the day break.
Boom.
In a matter of seconds here. And ARM, I'm on the bid at 77 if we get that dip. AMD as well for the 148. I just want to be going back into these strong stocks to the long side, not necessarily fighting anything. If a firm can set back up underneath 51, that looks like a decent short, but that's probably the only thing I'm looking at for a short trade right now.
All right, guys, we do have coming up very, very soon, we're going to have Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary. I'm just going to retweet our little tweet up here. And we always have a good time with Kevin. So excited to have him come through, and we're going to talk to a couple different questions coming through for him. And I tweeted something out earlier, as we're still waiting for Microsoft. We've made a lot of money back here, but the long definitely was not right. Last time, not last time, this is one of the first times. By the way, I was already at the hockey rink this morning. Shout out to my daughter, who now goes up north for a couple games today. And then they're having a sleepover, so I get to spend some time with my son tonight. But here it is right here. This is pre-COVID, when Mr. Wonderful and I, hey, look, we have like the same wedding rings as well. How cute. But we'll talk a little bit. Well, we were talking timepieces. Hey, look at that, man. It's Jerome Powell was in the building there. So, but anyways, that was a real fun time. Wish he was in the building again today, but Kevin O'Leary is getting ready to get locked and loaded. Hello, Jerome. Missed it again. Okay. We'll talk to him about this a little bit later. But damn, Daniel, the market is starting to go right now. And there goes Roblox. So again, the good hold on Roblox. Looks like we'll try to be positive again on this name, and we'll see where it goes. I was waiting. There, we'll take a little fill there. Take that out right now. So that was a good fill. And now we'll start to go. Shout out to my friend Phil again. I know that's an old joke, but I always say it. We'll see about getting some more out here, as SIDU has just resumed right now. So shout out to Sidhu here, as we have Sidhu Space 880 and starting to go again.
Halting again.
Yep, there it is. So as you can see, whenever you start to build up, you could get long. I could get long right now, all you can eat buffet right there at 880 if you want it. I don't want it, but you can get it. Just bid one of these gateways, and there it is, man. I don't have the long. Anybody could have had it, and whenever that's the case, I get a little bit nervous. But look at this, 907 is the tap. So again, you know, like if you just 891.
That's dangerous.
I don't like it. So the reason why I said I could have had it and we don't have it, but the thing about that is that now it's 924, 950. I didn't, 10 is the new tap. Oh, damn. I was just saying, good thing I didn't take it. But yeah, no, 811 on Sidhu right now being tapped up, now back down to 9. I don't like it when it spits there and can give it to anybody. You could have got 80s there if you wanted it, man. Like I was sitting there, I know the gateways to use. You could have used an inverted one and you would have got that for sure.
Edge AB.
All right, it's 10:30 right now. We do have Nat Gas, and we're going to go over to Adara.
One interesting story here coming with regards to Deribit, which is one of the crypto exchanges. They have their largest crypto options expiry ever for that exchange, 11 billion. That expires tomorrow morning, so keep an eye on this. This is the largest expiry so far, with a record of almost $5 billion in options will be expiring in the money. So definitely something to keep an eye on with regards to these crypto stocks and crypto in general right now, guys. In terms of BTC, we're definitely, this is the daily chart here, we're still very much stuck in this range of about 42,000 to 43,000. Right now, we're just around 42,005. So this is what's going on with Bitcoin, very much within this pretty tight range as of right now. So here we are, Bitcoin just now, just below that 42,500 area. Ethereum, very strong, well above that 2,300, about 2,350 right now. BNB up about 5%. Solana continuing its descent, down about 7% right now, guys. The rest of these names pretty mixed over here for these cryptocurrencies.
Crypto.
It's like that was all the rage yesterday in terms of what was running. It was all Mara and Coin and related Bitcoin names. Today it is all these. It's the chip names and low float, reverse split, squeeze names. Mullen's up 13% today. I can only imagine it's on sympathy to some of these other things. I can't give you another explanation than that. I'm probably going to pay for locates on the off chance that we like it, but it's just not necessarily something I want to stand in front. Oh, you're finally back above, I believe, at 51. Sidhu, someone asked, what does TAP stand for? Theoretical auction price. It's if they open the stock at that moment, this is where the equilibrium is and where they would print it. It doesn't mean that's where it's going to open. It's just at that moment, that's where the open would be. So that's for that on Sidhu. ARM just got to 78 and might start pulling back. This stock could see 80 today if the market can hold up even just a little bit here. And back underneath 51 is a firm, so I wanted it back under 51. I just offered 95 and didn't get it. I am in Rivian going into that high of the day break. And just for the last, not the last time, Sidhu, it's back to a $9 tap, so that's all over the place. It doesn't mean it's going to print at 9. It's just if it was right now, it'd be back to $9.
Oh, man. Today's been a tough day. I mean, I don't know how many stocks you're green or red on, but I'm 2-2 right now, and it's been tough. And the biggest L for me is Softy. And we're trying to get this name to battle back a little bit. We could actually, if this goes up like basically a little bit past VWAP, into here, and we're able to hold it, we'll turn this day into a green day. So that'll be, shout out to Dookie and everybody like that. I like that. That was one of the very first, not the very first. I remember when I was it just came out, and we were going on a family trip to Puerto Vallarta, and we had the cassette player tape, you've never heard of this?
Sure it wasn't 8-track?
You've never heard of this, Ramin or Fabian, but the music used to, I'm just playing around. Used to come in little cassettes, cassette tapes. And I remember buying that. Yeah, exactly. That's right. So that was, I remember going on the plane and I bought that, and that was a lot of fun. And anyways, so that was just a little.
What was your first?
No, that's the thing. I can't remember how old I was. But it was just a Walkman. Walkman. That's the word I'm looking for. Damn it. The Sony Walkman. I used to have the yellow one. There's a yellow. Anybody that's like 28, like I am.
The yellow and black. Yellow and black.
Yeah, the yellow and black one.
I know exactly the one.
Yeah.
I didn't have that was my dad's. My dad had.
Yeah. So we had all that, man. The Walkman, yeah, for sure, man. And then mixtapes. Like I used to put on MTV or whatever. A hot song would come up. And then I would just push record and put it to the speaker, try to get it so that I could get it on that. Or you're waiting on the radio and you've got
that was my jam.
This sick boom box, and you just push record quickly to get it, right? You're waiting for okay, it's top 6 at 6, and number 6 is Britney Spears or something. So Sharif's getting ready, and then all of a sudden push record and you got that song. But then you're always man, I got to edit out live on 92.5.
You got to time it up. Because if you knew it was on, I remember when No Diggity was on the top 10.
No doubt.
So I knew it was going to be at that number 1 at a certain point. I know how they're going to talk through the intro, so I'm sitting there waiting for it.
Yes, exactly.
That's the moment. And then you mix that with the end of the song. That was my jam. I don't even give a damn. And my first cassette tape, no word of a lie, was Shabba Ranks.
Shabba,
Mr. Loverman. That was the joint.
You call me Mr. Lover.
That's Shaggy. But
that's Shaggy. I like Shaggy too.
Shabba
we in a mood, boy.
He got canceled. People don't know this. He was canceled before cancel was a thing. I'm not going to get into why because it's one of those things. But let's get back to the quick markets here because
he was ahead of the game.
He was early. he just wanted to be early, which I want to be early on the Rivian breakout. So I bought some at 24.20 here, looking for the dip and then rip. And if it breaks the quarters, I'm going to be adding to Rivian on a break of $154.25. The market is somehow deciding to rebound at this particular moment, but once it breaks the high, I'm in. AMD is going to get to 150 today, and what's crazy is it's somehow doing it without me. I'm canceling more dip buys.
Thank you, Zippy Zayn.
I suppose, like, I guess maybe you grip and rip a 150 break on an AMD today. Guys,
if you think, yeah, I might short that 150. Thank you, Zippy Zayn and everybody like that. Look, if you are excited again for more talk like that and just more like fun little things, we have a great time obviously on the show every single day. But I'm pretty proud of the podcast that we have. So we had a lot of fun things there. Fabian mentioned to me yesterday that he thought number 6 was the best one. So go find it. We're filming another one tomorrow. It should be hilarious. And by the way, well, not hilarious, but it should be fun. And we get a little bit crazy on it. But here we go. Microsoft to the upside. Brendan, Neil off tomorrow. Brendan back. So thank you, Sharif and Adara, that have been doing great jobs so far this week as Brendan is back in the building. I would have loved to take today off, but we got Mr. Wonderful coming through. And we also have a little bit of diamond hands right now. It's too bad that we got stopped out there. But again, take care of the risk. You're a risk manager first when you're a trader. And I know that's going to sound cheesy because you probably heard it about 1,000,000 times, but honestly, like this is why we're doing the show, Like I could lose, we didn't lose anything, but you could lose your month on a trade. Some people have already lost their months, It's like you're trying to do the best you can without having a major drawdown. So like when that level got broken there, obviously I saw this level at 374, yesterday's close right there, dark pool wicks, right? But what am I going to do? Just average in until eventually it breaks? No, I'm going to take it out there at a level that I thought was reasonable, and then we'll work on it from there. And that was the trade. Pretty simple stuff for me. And it just didn't work out, and we got out of that. We got in and out first. That was good. That was good. Then that's bad. So right now, we'll sort of have to hold out hope here that the market can battle back, and then there it goes. A firm finally fails to the top side. Breaks through 51. So again, look, in, out, in again, out. So, it's about managing risk, making sure you're good to go. Apple, nice little buy the dip opportunities again as well, right? Get out so you don't have to worry about it. It bounces, and then look at that out there at 36s or something. Apple definitely went for a little bit of a moon ride. And guess what? I shouldn't say this because it's a reference to the higher power, but myself of little faith right there. We trusted Roblox. We have not gotten out of that stock. We still have more than half of the position. Well, we've gotten out of it, but we still have more than half of this position. And there we go. So, we were going to get out if this broke 50s, and we got pretty darn lucky that didn't happen. But there it goes again, Roblox. So all of a sudden, guys, we're going to be green on Apple. We'll turn slightly red on Affirm. We'll be red on Microsoft and green on Roblox. So we're going to go 2 for 2, almost 3-1 today. Almost 3-1 today, but again, that that Affirm, we are slightly red on it, and it's literally as much. You know how much I'm red on it? Less than a vanilla latte. I was going to say I didn't know what Ramin drinks, but what's your order from Starbucks? Triple. Yeah, so I am definitely down less than a triple espresso and cold foam. If you guess less than $5, you're right on that one.
I don't know what that costs. Triple espresso with something
cold foam, probably $5.50 on a grande, something like that.
My coffee at home is pretty darn cheap. Invest in a good grinder, and you will never look back. Again, to each their own, man. I would much rather own stocks and things that other people buy and are obsessed with than I am, because I'm usually like counter trend when it comes to like what's cool. And I've never been a Starbucks person. I've never been a Starbucks guy, but I don't mind the company. I've just never been a Starbucks. I've never been a huge Apple person, but I own a bunch of their stock, so that's absolutely fine. This is a day where if you can find a trend, it's better to join it. Like look at the first dip in ARM, and it was a huge rip. We bought the breakout there. It then dips $1, almost a full dollar, down into 77.20. Now I bought initially at the quarters, and then added to it above 40, and then just got some out there when it got to 65. And I'm gonna have an offer here at 77.80 as well. So I wanna give it back into this 77.25, but ARM has been a very clean trend into the upside pretty much the entire day. And AMD, we were joking about AMD 150. It's not a joke anymore. It just went to 149.92. Shout out to Tara the Dawn, appreciate you in the super chat there. Salute to the Trader TV team. I've been rocking with you since December 2019 or 2020. I'm going to suggest, I mean, we were on YouTube starting in 2020. So unless you were at a Day Trade the World office, it was probably in 2020. I know it was definitely around COVID time. Yeah, we came to YouTube pretty much on the COVID. It was like the perfect time to have joined YouTube. But 150 on AMD, it's here right now.
What?
It's insane. 92 is the high of the day. This is the kind of trade, if you short this level, it's a hard stop at 01. Not at 2, not at 3, not at 5, at 01. If it breaks 50 by even 1 cent, I'm out of this trade.
I feel like I'm getting a little bit greedy here because I'm just sitting here watching Microsoft. First of all, we reshorted a firm. So, well, anyways, I could have just got out there and put it positive. I told you I'm only down a little bit. But okay, watch out for Microsoft. The reason why we're talking about this is it's right up here. It's just, I was waiting for a break higher through 375, but for like right now, it just doesn't seem to be really doing anything. So we'll take another piece out there. I'm still waiting for 375.20, which is VWAP. I want to get that fill. I think if we could break it, we can get that fill. So that's what we're doing right now. And here comes a firm right back in. We can get it out right now and go buy that, that coffee, but we're not going to. Let's see if a firm can make its way back down. 50.90 right here. I believe that's somewhere where my first, oh no, that is my first bid, sorry. My first bid is exactly at 50.90. Then I have a 50 quarters down here near the 200 period, and then we'll see if it can fill out. And this may just continue to rip up. I don't know, but we will try that. Again, Roblox still high side right now. Apple, we just took another piece out. Apple's going to be a good one as well. So, so far so good. Thank everybody for subscribing. We do have Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary coming through in just a couple minutes. He'll talk with Sharif, and then we'll get our hands on that guy and figure out what we're going to ask him. But let's just check out Sidhu really quickly because it did open back up, and I know there are some of you traders on there, but it's halted again. So I guess going long at 880, like I said, I did not want to do, would have been right.
Up or down?
Up. Now, up to 1130. So the tap right now is 1128. Going to open up. I don't know, when did it halt? Let me just double check. Okay, so this has been a 10-minute halt. So it still has not opened back up yet. So this might open in the next 2 minutes, SIDU, with a nice little runner. And
one note on,
yeah, go ahead,
halt.
yeah.
When you have halts, they're always 5 or 10 minutes for volatility halt. Typically speaking, it's a 10-minute halt because of a lack of liquidity. So it's because they can't find enough open interest to pair off some of the open orders that they hold it for an extra 5 minutes. And in rare circumstances, that 10 minutes turns into a random time. So if it's ever longer than 10 minutes, there is no defined 15 or 20 minutes. It's just whenever. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be more than 10, but AMD got to 92s. I didn't short it till it was at 80s, mid 80s, and then added to it when it broke 80s, 149.80. So the last entry was at 76. Just took some out there at like 58, and then some out there at 41, and then 149. This is a strong stock. I'm looking for it to eventually make a higher low, but the pullback is now in on AMD. So it's a bit weird that a stock that we like to the long side, our first trade is going to be a short. But sometimes the market's a little weird. And today might be one of those days. Only because we haven't talked about it in a while. Tesla, there was me making the keystroke. This is when I should have been getting into ARM. As I said, I was on the wrong stock. That is a horrid mistake to make. It's a good thing though, as long as you're able to quickly get out of it when you make a keystroke error, because I ended up punching a high that I had no intentions of taking. Tesla's under VWAP in week. 262 looks like it's going to be a bit of a brick wall. I like the long-term trend, but you're now dealing with the closing range as resistance on Tesla, and it's never been strong in this market, so it's kind of filed the other way despite the strong run here today. I think we have just a couple of minutes to go. We'll get in our ear loading up and ready for Mr. Wonderful, but I just got out of AMD. It's not a full dollar move for me because I didn't get 150 exactly, and I'm not holding through 149. If anything, I'm looking for the next opportunity to go, or the first opportunity to go long. Quick scalp trade, risk a little, get in and out of the trade, and then try and rejoin the trend. Just kind of take your pot shots. So AMD, good for now, but I don't know if the next trade I want is going to be a short again. I think it should be a long.
And there it is right now, guys. We'll go, oh my God, we're going to go 3-1 today. But Roblox is falling back down, so we're going to watch out for that. We did take out some more Apple there. And then guess what? There it is, man. Affirm. We just took a fill at 96. So we are going to wait for 90s to come through. Hopefully this continues its move down, as that's the name that went from red to green right there, right now. So far, so good. Yeah, let's smash the like button right now if we can do that, as we are going a little bit late here. Let us know when he's ready to rock and roll there. Mr. Wonderful. All right, he's not even there yet. So we may take this into 11 o'clock, and then we'll see what happens on that one, of course. So, all right, that's what's happening right now. Just quickly, we did get out of some more Apple. We're waiting for Affirm to get down. There it is on this stock. Spin it for Microsoft, because at least if you didn't get this name early and you got it late, then congratulations. But look at the market, right back up to VWAP again. So I just took a piece out. I said I was waiting for 75.20. I still am waiting for, 75.20s. If that can come through, then that will be great. We're going to look at 375.20 on that name, and then look at the biggest and the baddest of them all. Again, another green name here for us is going to be Apple, back up to the high side. So we're ready to go, man. This is going to be good right now for us. We're excited, man. Kevin O'Leary is just sitting down now. What's up, my friend? And a shout out to Nancy as well. We are very, very excited here to have that show. But hey, it's been a heck of a day.
Yes,
it's been a great day. Bouncing off 17.1 in the NASDAQ. We talked about our Sony Walkmans and all of that. That was really hype. And here we go, man. Let's see if this market can continue its bounce a little bit here. And let's see if the Santa Claus rally, ho, 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 will continue
the market
to go.
The NASDAQ's up 0.1%.
Yes,
After
sir.
all
Let's
of this,
go.
the NASDAQ is up. The ES is slightly to the upside. I mean, obviously powered by some of the chip names. But shout out to this. This is why I love the community, because you don't let us miss something. And Nike is, I think like maybe this is the start of the bounce on Nike. Post earnings, you made that Huadunk. Look at the level it held on to. Remember 107? 107 held like a charm. It's starting to go off that level. I think looking for some Nike longs today is going to make some sense. It still has resistance at about 108.5, but last I checked, 108 gives you another 50 pennies to go. And so I want to look for a long there. I am in a Rivian long. I do want to reload ARM. I do want to reload AMD, but I'm thinking in the other direction, a long in AMD. I don't know if we get it at VWAP or anything like that, but maybe it is 149. I'm shooting for something a little bit closer to VWAP if we can get that strong trend to the upside. I don't have to tell you that AMD has been strong. You guys can all see that there. Apparently, James Dell saying C3AI is moving. I generally favor shorts on C3AI, but the way this market's rebounding, I don't think you want to bet against a squeeze name. And this is a squeeze name.
Oh.
Only long because it's a squeeze name. Room 231, 30.5. That looks like a good buy zone for C3AI.
Oh, man, here it comes again. Let's go. Let's get a couple bangs right now and hit a little bit of sirens, because let's go. Finally, nice little move. What's up, Fabian? Nice little move on Microsoft back up there to the upside. So guess what? Here, this is for you, Mr. Wonderful. We're now $1 in the money. How about this? Does he like that? I think that's pretty cool, man. We're having some fun here. Again, as there it goes, a nice little dollar club winner. You got to celebrate. You got to have a little bit of fun. We're in the Christmas spirit, although we don't have our rum and eggnog here today, and I do not believe...
The traders finished the rum right quick.
Yeah, I don't believe in trading inebriated, so we will not be having any of that. But tonight we have the market recap show. Should be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow, join me and Brendo for the best podcast
Should be champagne
out there
tomorrow
on the web. Yeah, we could do that. Well, there it goes, man. We are really, really printing right now.
It's not, I mean, look, well, last Friday it wasn't Christmas. We still did the rum and eggnog on the Friday show. So I feel like it's not necessarily New Year's Eve, but, you know, a little champagne.
Oh, yeah, a little bit New Year's Eve style.
That's the way to go.
Sure, man, we can do that.
It's the show before New Year's, so I think it should be champagne.
I wonder
That's
if...
just me. It's my day off, so I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but why not?
Yeah, I remember on my day off. Let's talk about that later. Okay, so Affirm coming back in, guys. Just quickly here. Someone said in the chat, oh, Kevin was a little bit late because he was shorting Affirm. Well, hey, if he's shorting Affirm, I mean, then he's with me. So I like that. Great minds think alike. I don't know why he'd be thinking like me. Okay, here we go, man. It is ready to rock and roll. We're really pleased to once again, you know, have a friend of the family.
Great friend of the
Kevin O'Leary's been here before. I showed that picture a couple years ago. It was really nice when he was here in person. Got to talk to him about a bunch of things, and now he's here via Zoom. Maybe I'll ask him about Zoom. I mean, that seems to be pretty popular these days. All right, it's Kevin and it's Sharif at the big desk.
All right, guys, time for a very special guest. Kevin O'Leary, you may know him as Mr. Wonderful or Chef Wonderful, depending really on the contest, chairman of O'Leary Ventures. Kevin, how are you?
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. So, question for you. It's been a hell of a move this year on the markets. You got the NASDAQ well over 40% to the high side, the S&P well over 20%. But there's a new catalyst in town, and goes by the name of crypto. Really starting to pump up here. Started the year off very depressed at that 16,500 level. Now we're flirting with 45,000. Part of this, I guess, is the news that there's going to be a spot Bitcoin ETF, and that's got a lot of people excited. So, Kevin, two-part question. One, how long does this rally run into with the spot ETF tailwind? And is crypto one of the only kind of sectors that can really benefit from regulation? Because typically, regulation kind of hurts business.
Well, you know, it's almost been a year since you and I talked about this, and so much has happened. So let's just step back just a few months and talk about this asset class, because crypto, as most of us that have held it, it's been one of our best performing asset classes in 2023. No question about it. Now, first of all, Jan 10th is the big date when the SEC and Gensler are going to decide if they're going to issue that license for an ETF. But I want to warn everybody of something here. I'm in the camp that says he won't do it. He's got a mandate that'll be for another 18 months. And even if he says no, I don't think it's going to change the momentum of what's occurring here, because some really big things happen to change institutional interest to the upside in crypto. The big hold back on Bitcoin and Ethereum, the granddaddies of crypto, has been the fact that institutions, particularly sovereign wealth, have not allocated their traditional 1 to 3% to this asset class while they're waiting for the regulator to approve it. Now, as you well know, FTX history, Binance litigated into oblivion, its founder, largest shareholder, now a convicted felon, going to prison in March in the US. That's a big problem for institutions that want to keep their Binance accounts. And so the big news that occurred in the brick and mortar, if you want to call it that, of exchanges, the picks and shovels of crypto. In other words, if you're an institution and you're going to park $1 billion somewhere, you got to have a compliant exchange. And that's not Coinbase, because they're being sued by Gensler too. And remember, everybody, and this is crucial to the long-term prognosis of Bitcoin and crypto, only 38% of it is held in North America. The rest is all around the world. So the big question is, where are the billions going to go that used to be on Binance? And the answer is what occurred last month in Abu Dhabi, the launch of the M2 exchange backed by sovereign wealth. The largest of its kind in terms of financial backing,
Not yet.
tied to behemoth institutions. That's very good news.
And so, Kevin, where do funds find themselves in North American exchanges? Are they going to be on hard wallets, or are they going to be with just your regular run-of-the-day brokers? Because more brokers are starting to offer more cryptocurrencies on their exchanges.
Yeah, the answer is, if Gensler turns down ETFs, they're not going to do anything for it. They're just going to wait it out. You know, here's the problem. If you're Fidelity, you're BlackRock, you're Blackstone, or you're one of these behemoths, you operate on 100% compliance every day. And so you're not going to take down a 1 to 3% allocation of some extreme situation in Bitcoin when Gensler's litigating everybody in North America. And so if we don't get the ETF, that will signal that there's more work to be done on the regulatory environment. And I'd say that's 50-50. But that doesn't change the trajectory of what Bitcoin could become, because let's think about that going back to M2. Who owns M2? Well, the largest sovereign is actually sovereign wealth that owns it. 70% of it's held by sovereign wealth. But there's a company called Phoenix Group that just went public on the ADX. And I want to talk about this because I became a shareholder in that on the premise that that is going to be one way I can own M2, because North American traders can't open accounts on M2 yet. You can't do it in Canada. You can't do it in the US, although there's a lot of countries that can. And so the way to own a piece of M2 is to own Phoenix, PHX, on the ADX. That's the exchange in Abu Dhabi. And everybody said, and I went over there for the opening. I flew all the way there to understand this because I'm a big guy on the long term of crypto, but I like picks and shovels. I like the exchange idea. As you know, I own a big position in WonderFi in Canada. We have now 1 million accounts here. Since we last talked, that whole sector in Canada is consolidated. WNDR, look at that chart. It was 10 cents. Now it's 34 in the year. So it's had a big move too. And I think there'll be more consolidation in the Canadian market. But to own Phoenix means you own 30% of M2. And so I found that I could open an account as a North American resident by using international securities. You can download that app on your iPhone, do your Know Your Client upload. It's a headache like anybody in opening any account anywhere. Then I wired the dough over there into AED. It sounds complicated. I bought the IPO. I'm up 30%. And I'm going to hold that for the next 2 years because I think M2 and Phoenix are going in one direction, up. Sure, it's a speculation, but you talk about the other 70% of Bitcoin. Where's it going to go? It's going to leave Binance and go on to M2 where it's safe. That's my whole premise. And I'm going to keep flying every quarter to Abu Dhabi because that's the new capital of capital. I'm really excited about that. And I'm really long Bitcoin, Ethereum, Poly, you know, Manic is a big one for me too, Algorand. Polygons, I look at it, these are big asset moves in the last year, 20, 30, 40%. But people that counted out crypto just saying that it's only the US got it wrong.
A lot of interest in that area of the world now with crypto and tech related. A lot of startups. I'm hearing it's kind of like the Silicon Valley of the Middle East. We'll have to see how that all pans out. But I got to tell you, Kevin, I was surprised to hear you say that you didn't think Gary Gensler was going to go and go ahead and approve for the spot ETF. A lot of what I've been reading is the dialogue has really changed here between the SEC and some of the applicants, Fidelity, ARK, BlackRock, you name it. It's been more like, hey, give me details on this rather than a blanket no. So in your opinion, what's really motivating Gary here? Why is he so anti-crypto?
Well, I went to the hearings last month. Actually, it was about 8 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. I go to D.C. now almost once a month just to keep a tone on what's happening, because I'm also interested in digital payment systems like USDC, and there's that digital payment systems bill, the stablecoin bill going through Congress too. Anyways, I listened to senators and congressmen and women grilling Gensler for about 2 hours on the Hill. And, you know, that guy was taking balls of fire being thrown at him. But he held his own because he has a basic premise that until this is regulated under the existing rules, he's just not going to allow it. And he was also bolstered by the fact that he was the guy that went after Binance. You remember how that played out. And he basically won that situation. And CZ flew from Dubai all the way to Seattle and is working it out. And I don't know how long he's going to spend in prison. But Gensler's not finished. A lot of people think that Binance has settled. They haven't settled with the SEC yet. That's the problem. So after the couple of years in prison, then it's got to be settling with the SEC. It could take a while. And he's going after Coinbase as well. So if you're going to have an ETF and you're going to do creates every day, you need spot pricing on a massive liquid exchange. Well, where's that going to be if Gensler's suing them all? Now, I hope I'm wrong. You don't have to wait that long. We're going to go through New Year's. Then we're going to get December or January 10th, and you'll know. And if I'm wrong, you're going to get a big move up in Bitcoin. But even if I'm right and Gensler punts it and says, I'm going to wait, no one's going to take him up on it. They've begun to understand that he wins most of the fights he starts. Remember, Coinbase is going into round 4 in litigation with Gensler. They've lost the first 3 over the last 3 years. The chance they win the 4th, in my view, 0. So you can't win against the regulator. And really what Coinbase is asking is change the law. Guys, it ain't going to happen. So you have to realize you got to be dealt the hand and work with the hand you're dealt with. And I think that until Gensler's done by getting everybody to play with anything in crypto, and particularly Bitcoin, ETFs, by existing rules of securities, he's not going to press the button to say go. But I don't think that's the end of the world. That's only 35% of the market. The rest, That's going to M2.
Kevin, thank you so much for that, because I'll be honest with you. I mean, Sharif already said this once. We're glad to have you on one more time. But the expectation for a lot of people and a lot of our viewers, and I would say almost for myself, I was pretty optimistic with the SEC and what might happen with Coinbase. But you're right about that, and it's good to have that, because I'm staring at a chart of this thing up like 240%. I'm talking about Coinbase in the last month and a half, which is pretty crazy. And so you talk about January 10th as being a big step for what could happen next, and you hope that Bitcoin makes a big run. Now, do some other fundamentals play into any of your case for crypto, the halving that happens in April, or maybe what you think for the overall economy or flight to safety? Does any of that play into this, or do you only care? Let's see what happens with your opportunity with Phoenix, which, by the way, you can also trade on the LSE if that's a market you're into in Europe. It's available there. Is this just about the 10th? Do you care at all about fundamentals in the economy? Do you care at all about Bitcoin halving? Does that play into it? Because I'm pretty excited about that into April. Usually it's a good catalyst.
Well, I was listening to you before we got together on the show, talking about the chips, and you're right. There's a fundamental change going on in the economy. So I care a lot about AI and how it's going to add productivity to all 11 sectors of the S&P. But none of that's going to happen without data centers. And so the other aspect that I'm playing into on the Phoenix, if you look at what they do, these guys are data center guys. And why are they so big in data centers? Because they're one of the largest miners of Bitcoin in the world. That's what you don't know about Phoenix. They're probably number one now globally. They operate in almost every continent. But in building out these data centers, you have to become really strong at understanding the infrastructure of what it takes to have an AI data center. And because of the Ukraine war, and this is a very interesting theory, but I'm backing it with my dollars, is in the old days, if you're a General Motors or the IRS or you're an American bank, you didn't give a damn where your data center was. You just wanted low-cost electricity. And that was the Ukraine. Their hydro was the cheapest. They had all kinds of data centers. Then you got the Putin tanks rolling right over data centers, and everybody wakes up and goes, yikes, where are these data centers? So now in the US and in Ireland and in Canada and the United Arab Emirates and in Switzerland, France, everybody and every sovereign government wants their own data center on their own sovereign soil with low-cost power. And that's what Phoenix does. There's another company over there too called G42. And what you should know about the UAE, and I'm learning more about this place every time I go over, they own, and the Mubadala, the chair of Mubadala, is on the board of Global Foundry. Those boys own 20% of Global Foundry, the third largest chip maker in the world. So they can make the data centers anywhere they want. So if you're in North Dakota and you want to build a $1.2 billion data center for the IRS in North Dakota, which is where one of the safest states in the union is, you're going to have to get the chips, and you're going to work with companies like Phoenix and G42, and that's where I'm betting. I'm betting over the next 2 years that every guy and his dog in every state is going to want a data center there, because they want the security of where that information is, and they want to know it's safe, and it's in a place where no foreign entity can run a tank over it.
Oh, now you're speaking the language we like. I love that. I actually own some Global Foundries, and I wasn't even aware that they were a shareholder there. So great look, and as always, appreciate you expanding on those thoughts. You can put, anyone can come on and talk about something for the 2-3 minute hit that they want to do, but it's in the ability to expand on the thought and educate the viewers onto the entirety of the reasons why you do like Phoenix. We really appreciate it.
Well, guys, before we leave, we got to do a watch check, right?
No, we're not, Kevin.
I was going to let Sean.
Kevin, we're not going anywhere. Okay, so first of all, thank you, Kevin, for coming back on again, and again, great information there. You know what I'm worried about? I'm going to change it from crypto in a minute, though. Are we not worried a little bit? And we haven't really talked too much about China. You mentioned Ukraine there and everything like that. I still and we're coming into an election year, and I know, of course, shout out to our lovely country, and we're not going to talk politics, but into an election year, I just wonder about China, and sort of, is there some rhetoric there that we're worried about, either from the Democrats or the Republicans? And crypto is, a lot of that is fueled by mining, or not mining, but trading in China, and we talked about Binance. Are we worried at all about geopolitical there with China? Because there's some Chinese names like Alibaba that I really like, and I'm worried about that space.
It's a great point you're making there, but the issue around China is trying to peg next year's 2024 growth rate. What's driven GDP growth in China over the last 10 years, when it was well north of 5 and 6%, was real estate. Now, that sector's crapped out in China. You've heard of the empty buildings built all over the place, and that's where so many jobs were created. And there's a major correction going on in real estate because they're not immune to the cost of capital all around the world. So if it's not going to be real estate that's driving Chinese growth, what sector is it going to be? Well, they established their economy decades ago as becoming the low-cost manufacturer. And that was the place to go until all of this tariff war started. And so now you've got a situation where even Apple and some of the largest behemoths are starting to say to themselves, wait a second, I have to diversify my supply chain risk. Maybe I got to go to Taiwan more, even though China's threatening them. What about Cambodia? What about Thailand? What about the Philippines? And so that's not pro-growth for China. And I don't think either Biden's administration, if he wins again, or if Trump gets back in, are going to change the tariffs. The real issue for China, and I still own a bunch of Chinese stocks that trade in Hong Kong, is they have to get up to speed on IP law, and they've got to become a global citizen that plays by the rules, because they're not. They're getting threatened to be kicked off the NASDAQ and the NYSE if they don't abide by the accounting systems. That's coming. China has to play by the rules, including allowing litigation on IP and everything else. And I think they're slowly getting the joke. I'm optimistic that at some point, because they only understand the stick, and they've been getting the stick from everybody. And I think that's when you're under a 5% growth rate and you've got billions of people to worry about.
It's a problem.
And you're the dictator, supreme leader forever. You got to sweat riots in the street, and you got to keep people employed. So I think we're going to do okay there, but that's not going to decide market direction, in my view. It's not going to be China. That's already baked in. I want to point something out, because you've been very good at looking at this broadening out. You guys talked about it was Magnificent Seven only, and now we've got a broader base of the S&P participating in the market move up. But let's not forget the Russell 2000. Had you seen the action there in the last 2 months?
Kevin, I mean, the IWM right now is definitely outproducing. I'm going to put a chart up right now, and thank you for calling that up. This is one of the names that I think has a great chance to go up even further. It's definitely lagging behind the NASDAQ and the S&P. I mean, here's a weekly chart. We're nowhere near. We just saw the S&P the other day touch the top. We saw the NASDAQ breaking through all-time highs. Great call on this one. You still need 20% until you get back to all-time highs of IWM. And then, Kevin, with rates, obviously, it looks like the rates are coming back in, so that would be good for small businesses. I also like the healthcare sector leading into 2024, as of course population, that's never changing. It only seems to be going higher. So we like the healthcare sector as well. Okay, so actually, you know what I want to talk to you about was, first of all, you have 2 watches on.
Yeah, what's going on here?
So I would say, what's up with that, first of all? And I also do, so I've got the Submariner on. I haven't changed too much there with what I'm liking, but I do have an Apple Watch, and I just bought my wife the Apple Watch 9. Because here in Canada, we didn't have that ban for the sensor, but I had bought it before that ban anyways. I like Apple for the long run. I like Apple Watches, but let's explain why we've got 2 on, Kevin.
So, my big confusion is I do so much business in New York and so much in LA. I always have to ask myself, what time is it in New York on the left?
No, stop, Kevin.
But I don't have to worry about LA anymore because it's right here on the right.
No.
I got New York, I got LA. And I got so many watches now, even since I last talked to you guys, I got to wear 4 at a time just to keep up with the pace I'm bringing them in. My wife thinks I got to go see a psychiatrist. Well, but I'm trying to pair now New York, LA time. And today I'm featuring the Lange Odysseus, a beautiful watch in white gold. But I'm into Creedor too. If you guys haven't heard of this, this is only for Japanese collectors, the most incredible hand-painted dials in the world. So little German and a little Japanese. Un, deux, trois, right here. And anybody asks me what time it is in LA? No problem, guys. It's 8:10.
You can, Kevin, I'll give you a little bit of a tip. You could just always minus 3 hours if you're on the East Coast, but I do like that plan. And you know who told me, or I said to her, you have a great team. We have a fantastic team around here, which makes this all happen. And I know Miss Nancy is looking for a Rolex as well. So treat her well, as I'm sure you do. Any comments on that?
Well, listen, you know, I've always take care of Nancy. Everybody knows that. And she's got the bug. She's got the watch virus. That's very dangerous. You know, the watch market is down 28%.
That was my
over
next
the last
question.
7 years, you still beat the S&P 500.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about this asset class. You can wear it, you can own it, you can invest in it. And the watch community around the world is so much fun. I know so many investors, the first thing they want to talk about is what's the latest watch. And I'm on my way tomorrow to Miami to pick up my one-of-a-kind FP Journe vertical tourbillon, the only one in the world where the 12 has a red K there. And on the back, it's etched Kevin O'Leary. How cool is that?
Kevin,
that's an absolute must.
Tough life there, Kevin.
Yeah,
what I wanted to say was to you, one more stock pick. Can I get one for you? Can I give you a name and we'll look at it real quick? It's a very, very common name. You know what it's going to be, Kevin? It's going to be Tesla. So here's a chart of Tesla, and this is the thing. We talk about Mag 7. Tesla, if you go back, this is a weekly chart. It's at the same levels as we were in January of 2021. So in 3 years, you've had to have a heart attack if you're short all the way up here to 420, then all the way back down if you're long, down to 100, and now you're resting in the exact same spot. So although we could talk about crypto being nervous, nervous hands, I don't know, what do you think about Tesla here? Are some of the Chinese names in the EV space, and Rivian even maybe here in the US, are we catching up a little bit to Tesla? Is that an investment that you'd be comfortable holding at these levels?
Look, you know, if you're going to have a position, even if you have some Rivian, and you're just trying to get a weighting across EVs, your largest holding still has to be Tesla because they're the low-cost provider. They also have access to the lowest production cost of batteries. And they've got this massive internet distribution of power at charging centers. Even GM and Ford eventually have to standardize on their distribution center. Everybody's figuring that out. So as the price of these things come down, you still want to be with the low-cost provider. Now, I understand Elon Musk is a controversial dude. Everybody knows that through the whole Twitter X thing. But at the same time, the guy's a genius. I'm
fine with that. I'm fine with that.
And I can put up with all the craziness because I watch what this guy's doing globally, and he's killing it. And I love the fact he just shrugs off his, critics. He just doesn't give a damn, and that's what it takes to be successful today. So I would say Tesla is probably a good long-term hold if, as you pointed out wisely, you can stomach the volatility because it's vol like crazy. So, you don't want to have over a 5% weighting in a book in one name because it's going to add a lot of vol to your holdings. And one other thing, going back to that mid-cap play, I'm thinking the reason mid-caps have really moved in the U.S., we're talking Russell 2000, is the fact there's a 50-50 chance Trump gets back in, and that's going to be a much less regulated environment. Less regulation affects domestic companies, and most of the ones in the Russell are 5 to 500 employees. Now, I'm using an ETF called OUSM, owned by Alps, because they filter out all the dog crap out of the Russell 2000, because half the companies don't make any money. They just own the ones that do in OUSM. So you get less vol, and it pays a distribution. Because who's going to guess on 2,000 names every quarter? That's what you got in the 2000. But it's my play. That's what I'm using.
But just one question on that OUSM.
Days there.
Is it just about profitability? Like, is that the number one overall metric that you're weighting out there? Or do you also look at some other growth metrics? I'm just curious for myself.
No. It's factoring on quality. It looks at leverage. What you really want in a company is if they're paying out dividends or distributions, and every month they're just borrowing money to do it, you don't want to own that name.
Right.
You want companies that have sustainable business plans. The filter system in OUSM is the same as OUSA, and I've owned these as core holdings. OUSA is a subset of the S&P 500, and it takes out the crappy names there too. I don't want to own Boeing when it's going through, massive debt restructuring and yada, 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 yada. And every day it's an executional issue, and when's the CEO changing and all that stuff. Not that it's a bad company, it's just I don't need to own that to get the index to work for me. So it filters out all the risky stuff. Same thing with the Russell 2000, the USM, and I'm owning the pure gold in my view. So, it's sort of, I don't like to own companies that don't make money. I think you guys know that about me. I'm all about the cash flow.
Oh, no, Kevin, you just ruined it. I was going to say last time we had fun and you made me say cash flow is very, very key. So,
well, that's how you should say it. It's all about the cash flow.
That's right,
That's
baby.
It works. And I'll tell you, 2024 is going to be because rates are probably going to stay at 5.5 terminal rate. Everybody's thinking, that the Fed's going to lower it in March. I don't think so. I think they're going to kind of wait till they get the real 2% inflation, particularly in food. We are in an election year. They won't raise it anymore, but they're not going to drop it down as fast as people think. So you got to kind of think your names in a 5.5% world, which means a 7% mortgage, an 8% car loan. But that's baked into the market right now. And the U.S. economy continues to do quite well. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure everybody's hopeful, that we're going to resolve this Ukraine thing at some point,
Yes,
and
sir.
certainly we want to resolve what's going on in the Middle East. That's a horrible situation for everybody involved. And these things could be, I think, stimulus for markets around the world when they get resolved.
Kevin, I need to thank you again. We've gone well over time. I want to thank you for your time as well. And again, I think you've provided a lot of information to all of our viewers. And thank you so much. Back to Sharif, is that what you want to do? Okay, Kevin, thank you so much. Promise the next time you're in and around Toronto, you'll come back in.
I love it. I'm going to bring in more people. I'll be wearing 4 watches by then, 2 on my ankles.
At this
I'll
rate,
come in.
8.
Kevin, I want to tell you, I know your wife was thinking that you're a little bit crazy for owning too many watches. Well, I mean, I'm right here if you want to get rid of some. So we could talk about that for sure.
Your other wrist is bare.
My other wrist is bare. Normally I have the Taylor Swift. I didn't wear that for.
I got to leave you with a story. So she meets Paul Boutros, the head of Phillips Auction, global guy that sells all the watches around the world from collectors. Okay. And she meets him at a dinner. And then while I'm gone to the can, she starts talking to him saying, listen, when my husband snuffs, can I give you a call about these watches? Because I'm going to want to sell a ton of these things.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
And then I get back to the table and Paul says to me, hey, listen, are you going to give us the lead order on your collection? When you move on? I said, Paul, there's no need for that. All of these watches are coming in my coffin with me to the next life because I'm going to need good timepieces there.
That's what I said. I just want to be frozen. Like when I'm about to pass, I just want someone freeze me, and then 50 years down the line, when they figure it out, we can all come back. And then how much are they going to be worth? Then they're like antiques.
100x.
Yeah, I like where you're going with this, Kevin. Always smart ideas. Thank you so much, Mr. O'Leary. Let's go back to the desk.
Take care,
One
guys.
more with Sharif.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin, before you go, I just got to be remiss if I didn't ask you this next question. There's an individual at the SEC by the name of Lena Khan. And she's been looked at, by some commentators as, ideologically driven. There's been multiple deals this year that, the kibosh has been put on them or they've been put on the back burner. How do you feel about big tech really working outside their moat, expanding into areas that they never really got into? Amazon with logistics, Apple and others in production of film and shows, etc. How do you think that factors in going forward, especially with the FTC? And is it going to be an issue, like you said, because Donald Trump could be in office next January?
Well, there's really 2 questions there, and I'll tell you, it's a good one to raise. The digitization of content, whether it's the way you're driving your information to people watching Trader TV all around the world, which changed so much in the last 36 months, you continue to grow because people find you wherever they want to find you because of digitization. Companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google have figured that out too. And every individual only has so many hours of the day on stuff they can do and watch. And so you want to try and capture as much time as you can from them. This is causing major headaches for the traditional television and cable networks. And so, yes, they're going to expand out of their comfort zone, particularly Amazon, going into Thursday Night Football, obviously. That has not hurt the market capitalization of the stock, even though that makes them no money. But it exposes them to more families and an Amazon smiling brand logo, and all of that is occurring. Now, regarding the regulator, and that is a great question, is what I've learned, and I've been doing this a long time, is I treat the regulator as your friend. You got to go sit down with their staffers off the record, like I do, and find out what they're thinking. You can't win when you go to war against the regulator because the shareholders don't want to be part of that war, and you're not going to win anyways. They have unlimited resources. You got to find the compromise in regulation prior to doing the deal. Find out what you think is going to work by asking them. Now, maybe they don't give you the answer you want. They're not going to pave it for you, but at least you're going to understand the sensitive areas where you can't tread. Right. The smart managers do that. The men and women that are protecting their stock prices go and do that. Gensler's door is open, or the Federal Trade Commission door, it's open. You can give them a call and sit down in Washington and ask them. Sit down and talk to them. It's not that hard to do. That's the new way I think about it. I want to make a deal with these guys. I don't want to go to war with them. You make zero money doing that.
All right. Chef Wonderful, Mr. Wonderful, and proponent of cash flow, Chairman of O'Leary Ventures, Kevin O'Leary, thank you very much for being on, sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think Adara is ready for the midday show. Send it to her.
Thank you so much, Kevin O'Leary, of course, and Sharif, Sean, and Neil for that great interview. I'm a huge Shark Tank fan, so it was really cool to see Kevin O'Leary live there on the Zoom and the watch comparison. Great video. Could not wait to re